cool, right? Want to know where I got it? Well, look, go to cs.money. It's a trade platform and a marketplace at the same time. Just choose, click, and get. Good luck, bro.
Case. Big update and new features in the case battles. Updated and convenient interface with new options. Up to 4 users can participate in one battle now. Create and customize your battles, any number and any type of cases. Choose the number of participants and invite your friends with a unique link. Watch the best drop and win everything. Don't miss epic battles on Hellcase.
Hello everybody and welcome to day 1 of the Starladder StarSeries I-League Season 7. My name is James Banks and I will be your host throughout all of this. We are here in beautiful Shanghai, China, and I've got 2 very talented individuals alongside me in Pimp and Vendetta. How are you guys feeling? Jet lag kicked your ass just yet?
Yeah, I gotta be honest. I'm a little bit under the weather right now in terms of jet lag, but that's how it is. You know, we travel and it's always it's always a challenge, but I think it'll be fine.
Yeah, no, I'm feeling surprisingly good. Not sure why. I might hit just a wall, you know, after the first best of 3. Who knows? But I woke up in good spirits at least today. So fingers crossed that it's gonna stay this way.
Yeah, I'm going to pray for your luck then, because I'm playing the catch-up game at the moment. It was a rough ride, it was a rough sleep, but that is just all a part of it. Now, guys, getting on to this event, right? 500k on the line. No Astralis here, no Team Liquid. It opens up the playing field just a little bit. We've got 3 teams that came through from qualifiers, and then we've got the rest of the teams being invited. And it's a pretty stacked lineup, and I think a lot of the other teams, now it's their time to prove themselves, right?
Yeah, for sure. And I think the fun thing about this tournament is that we have so many different storylines to follow, right? We have ENCE, a team that can establish themselves as a legit top team. I think they've been playing very well as of recently. Vitality, a team that we did see at the major, do fine, but how do they do against, you know, some of the opposition that you expect them to win against? A Na'Vi that comes in a little bit shaky, but they should be the favorites. And then you have teams like MIBR and FaZe, who used to be the top dogs, but no longer play up to that level. So it's going to be interesting.
Yeah, and I mean, just because you're the Dane, you know, and you probably don't want to show bias at all, at least not this early into the tournament. I mean, North are another storyline that is pretty interesting to pay attention to as well, because obviously they had the ICE tournament right before the major, managed to topple Na'Vi there. They've had good showings, you know, coming home from that as well, even though obviously the major didn't go as according to plan for them. But they've had, you know, gradual progress as well with their fairly new lineup, added a new coach and everything. This is a big proving ground for them as well, and I'm actually expecting pretty big things coming from the Danes. Not
to forget that we have NRG now with Tarek on the lineup as well.
Very true.
First LAN event. That's going to be an interesting one as well. Fnatic, NIP, what can the Swedes do? It's been some time since we've seen the Swedish players actually perform to the level that we want them to. So it's going to be interesting to see if they can redeem themselves. And at the end of the day, some of these teams will go home disappointed, James.
And that's what it's going to be about, right? It's these teams are now all in a situation where, okay, your number ones are not here, right? You're number 1 and 2 in the world. Now you've got to prove yourself. Now, a lot of people off the back of the major saying ENCE were a potential fluke coming into it, but they proved us once again at Blast that's just gone that they can deliver, they can step up when needed. Is this an event where we kind of expect them once again to show everyone else up, or is it going to be, do we see them drop off eventually now?
I think we have to, right? I think ENCE is a team that we, at this point, we have to expect them to do well. I think it's a team that is hard to quantify in terms of, are they a top 4 team, are they a top 5 team? I think they're somehow lurking around that area right now. But in terms of, you know, this tournament, if they can win this one, if they can cement themselves as a team that can deliver event after event, then having that consistency for such a young team, that's going to instantly make them a top 5 team in my book. So can they win this one? Then yeah, sure, I'm sold on the whole Ends train.
Yeah, I actually went up pretty early and just said I think Ents is going to win it. At the time, I will say that I had a bit of a lapse and forgot that Navi was here. But even still, I mean, it's something about, again, the type of Counter-Strike they play that is so well thought out and structured that it does allow yourself to have consistency, which has been pretty much the key point for a lot of these teams coming into it, that they haven't had consistency. They've had one good showing, a good best of 3, or like a part of a tournament being promising, but not necessarily over a longer stretch of time. For Ents, it's just been a gradual rise, and once they've gotten obviously to the apex, which was the major finals, they didn't fall off from that kind of height either. I mean, consider how, I mean, you mentioned the fact Astralis and Liquid aren't here, but if you go back to Sao Paulo where they competed, they tied Liquid. And that was, they only lost to Astralis otherwise. It was simply a case of round difference, keeping them from being in the finals versus Astralis. So, they've been able to maintain that level. And I think even they've been traveling all over the world for quite some time right now. I still think they're going to be able to deliver here in Shanghai.
We'll certainly be finding out over the next few days, but it's best of 3s across the board, right? Which gives none of this kind of, well, it's a best of 1, they got lucky once, it was their chance, that kind of meme that these players and teams like to use on a regular basis. And our first match is going to be NRG versus North. Now, let's look at this NRG roster, right? They had a rough ride here overall, and they were kind of, when it came to the major, they did so well at the beginning, and they completely dropped off. My first question around that was like, is this because they knew a potential change was coming down, right? That was coming into it, that someone was going to get removed with Tarek being available.
I'm not sure if they knew going into the major. I think they gave that roster another shot at the major. So let's say that NRG would have made it out of the playoff or would have been playing well at the major. I think that lineup will still exist today. What I question around NRG is the timing, as you said, of this roster change. I think it's a misconsensus that you only can change your player when you're in a bad period. Most teams change player when the results is not going your way. But if you have an obvious pickup, as for Ents, for example, if you have a Sonny lurking right now around where you can strengthen the squad, for the future, regardless if you're doing well right now, what is holding you from doing that? I think that was the same scenario with NRG when you knew that Fugly, if they wanted to take this lineup to the next level, they needed to replace and strengthen the roster, and they've done so with Tarek, but I think the timing of it is a little bit off. I think they could have done it before, and even before the major, maybe. So in that regard, this team is a little bit lackluster in terms of the confidence is not as high as it used to be, so it's going to be tough for Tarek to come into NRG and instantly be a force to be reckoned with. Had they changed it straight away, though, when the confidence was high of the team, I think it would have been worked out better.
Yeah, it's also a matter of the fact that Tarek and Fugly are two very different players, and just in terms of plays out what they bring to the table, right? Like for Fugly, you looked at him more of as a bit of an anchor, or that role player who kind of just ensures that everyone else on the team, gets theirs and are put in prime positions to succeed. I mean, him often being coupled with Cirque, for instance, on bomb side is a classic example of that. How Tarek is going to slot into that, or if they're going to switch things around to make accommodate for him, because obviously Tarek, from an individual point of view, is a stronger player than Fugly. Then that remains to be seen, and how successful they're going to be with that as well. Because we know with previous super teams, in that sense, FaZe is a grand example that just putting 5 skilled individuals into one side doesn't necessarily always lead to success, at least not long term.
Well, let's see what success NRG are going to have. Before we start talking about North, we've got a little interview for you guys.
Welcome to StarSeries, and sitting right next to me right now is Daps from NRG. Hello, Daps. How you doing?
I'm doing good. How are you?
Pretty good. So this interview is going to be fairly straightforward. I just want to start out with some basic questions. We talked about earlier, you got to take a look at the training room. So what do you think of it?
The training rooms are really cool. I think the new BenQ tables that we saw that has the computer built into it and the monitor built into it, I think it's really unique. And I hope I can get one. I don't think I can, but they're really cool.
Well, you can always come back to Shanghai and visit us and train here if you want.
Yeah, that's true.
So what's the practice been like for your team, and what's the preparation like for this event?
Just trying to get our maps down, trying to figure out what our best maps are, what our weakest maps are. And the practice in North America hasn't been very good lately, so we're trying to it's kind of hard to gauge where we're at, I'd say, since Liquid, MIBR, Renegades, Cloud9 it doesn't even have a lineup. So there's not really a quality of teams to play in North America currently. So I think this event will be BO3 format's a good format to sort of get some experience together.
So you guys made a bit of a roster change a month or two back.
Mm-hmm.
So what's it been like with Tarek and the team, and how is it different from before?
It's definitely a dynamic switch. Fugly and Tarek are both pretty different players. So we're currently just trying to adapt our play style and find what the best way to play for us is, since some of the older stuff isn't going to work as well. And we're also just trying to like reach the next level. So we're looking at our map pool, changing things on certain maps, and so far it's going pretty well, but it's definitely hard to fit a year's worth of practice with Fugly and show Tarek all of it within like a month.
We talked about it before the interview started a little bit. So this year, it's the 20th celebration, like anniversary for CS. And how has CS impacted your life?
I mean, I've been playing CS since Counter-Strike Source. So obviously it's always been sort of a time filler for me. I never actually planned to go pro, it just sort of happened. So yeah, I mean, the last sort of 3 to 4 years of my life have been really good, and I'm very fortunate to get to play the game.
Thank you, Daps.
Thank you.
I think that's it for our interview, and best of luck at the tournament.
Thank you.
Thank you.
A very open and honest Daps there when it comes to what NRG are doing and how they're getting on. And the first thing I want to ask you to hear is, realistically, one very important bit I took away from that was just the fact that they were very used to how they played with Fugly, obviously now changing it, and they're struggling with the adaptation by the sounds of it, like getting used to that big change. And that's one of the points you guys were initially bringing up. So it's not all perfect.
I think one of the core strengths of NRG back in the days with Fugly on the lineup was the fact that they had a very stable foundation, I would say. They knew how to play, they knew how to play off each other, they had the pieces, they had the ingredients to be a good team in terms of the individual skill of some of the players. But nowadays, you know, with Tarek on the lineup, as you were questioning before, how is it going to play out? You know, which one of the players, Breeze, Ethan, or Cirque for that matter, which one of them is going to give up space so Tarek can flourish as a player as well? And I think that's going to be a question, and as he said, it's going to be tough to adapt to.
Yeah, I'm actually really it's really worried might be a bit of an exaggeration, but I'm quite worried in the sense for NRG, because it's not like that trio of star players on the side of NRG was weak by any means back when they were having more and more success, when they were getting to finals and whatnot. That definitely wasn't the case. I mean, Ethan definitely had his games, Breezy as well, and Cirque, obviously we've known what he's been capable of doing. So yeah, where they're going to find space remains to be seen, or whether or not Tarek's, I guess, going to take or jump on the grenade in that sense and kind of just take a bit of a step back from being a star player in that sense.
Well, let's hop on to North real quick. As you can see, their maps and the total games they've played currently over the last 3 months. Now, interestingly enough, Overpass and Cash. Now, 2 maps out the way straight away, but Overpass is quite a big favorite, as you can see here, for NRG, and they've been known to play it consistently. Yeah,
it's been one of their go-tos. That's really where they found a lot of their success as they were making their come-up, pretty much. Yeah. They were just so good with it. Again, that A defense of Cirque and Fugly seemed impenetrable at times, and then you had to swing over towards B, where you found Breezy and Ethan firing on all cylinders. Like, it was just a nightmare to play versus them. Again, well thought out team in terms of how they approach their T sides as well. That could, a general thing, not just on Overpass as well. But all of those things make them a pretty solid Overpass team. I think they're going to have a bit of an issue here in the veto, though, which is going to be interesting to see. And normally I wouldn't kind of expect that for an NRG lineup. But again, roster changes play into that. The fact that they haven't really been able to adapt properly, that's going to give a lot of good chances for North to kind of win out the veto versus an NRG team that usually had a pretty good, or in the past had a pretty good map pool.
Now let's talk about North, right? A team that is expected to deliver when this lineup was put together to be one of the best teams in the world, but we haven't quite seen that come into play yet, Pimp. It's been a few key pieces missing, but then you have players like Valde, who's been absolutely insane, right? A phenomenal player through and through. AZ has his moments where we see him step back up, right, and we see a bit shining from him. But then you look at KRB as an example. Ever since he's left the Stars and come on to this lineup, where has he gone?
It's a good question. I think it's the entire lineup right now of North that just haven't been able to acquire the results and complete the results that they should be. That said, though, I feel like for the first time in a long, long while, I have a little bit of a more belief in the North lineup and the North squad. I think what we saw in, I think it was the tournament in London where they were winning the entire thing. They played okay, right? And they have been having a long break ever since. I think they've been home for 4 or 5 weeks, not playing any tournaments, not playing any officials really. Just been practicing, been grinding their ways off. And as we said before, this tournament is the same caliber as a major for North, right? This is the tournament they need to come into, and they need to win it, or at least go find it, to gain some confidence and gain some belief that they can be a top team as they were supposed to be.
Yeah.
As you said, this was a team that was built to not only be one of the best in the world, but also challenge Astralis for being the best team in Denmark and actually put on some pressure on them, but they just haven't been able to do that whatsoever. So if they can't perform at a tournament like this, then I would put my money on the block and say that this North lineup is not going to last for a long, long time. Something drastically needs to change if they cannot, with this preparation leading into this tournament, even with a good feeling from a tournament that they won, if they're not going to be able to perform at this one with these teams at this tournament, it's going to be a no for me, and I think North will have to change something drastically.
And this is the thing, right? North is a lineup that has to keep making these changes. They're trying to improve this lineup, switch things about, but they still haven't managed to make the pieces click. Now, what you just said there in terms of, they're actually taking some time, put that practice in. Do you think we're going to see a different style of map pool and approach from what we've seen previously from North?
I don't think we're going to see too many changes from North in that sense. I think what they kind of initially showcased at the tournament in London is going to be like a confidence builder for them. That's something they can go further with. That's what they've pretty much spent the time ever since then honing, leading up to a tournament like this. Obviously, the major fell flat, but again, this is redemption time in so many ways for them. And I think it's, again, to just kind of jump on the point that Jacob was mentioning, it is kind of now or never for North in terms of if they wanted to hold together this 5 as a lineup going further. Because someone like Valde, like with how well he's been playing, there's no doubt he's got a ton of offers, or at least a ton of interest around him. And obviously not from other Danish squads, because I mean Optic have pretty much just completed their full roster. Astralis have no reason to make any changes anytime soon. But when you start thinking internationally, FaZe still have a player on trial. Getting a Valde into that lineup seems pretty insane, just for how versatile he can be. They're kind of on a clock in that sense, but they seem to be at good spirits. I think we've seen a lot more consistency out of a player like Gade as of late as well, which is a really good thing. He was meant to be like kind of one of the new, I guess, talents from the Danish scene to kind of continue on this good history that Danish Counter-Strike has always had. And we haven't really seen it too much, at least not consistently enough from him. But it seems like as of if you go like the last 4 or 5 weeks or something, he's actually been playing better and better.
And I think that's the big problem for North right now, that they have all these building blocks. They have all these players with incredible skill. They just haven't found a way to utilize all of them at the same time. What North needs is just one more player to step up with Valde. As you said, he's been playing hearts out. Some of the best Counter-Strike we've ever seen being played from him. Do you have a Kirby or do you have an AC that steps up to the same level we know they can be at, so you have a double punch with Valde and one of those two, then all of a sudden you have a very solid team around those guys. So it's a little thing that is just needed from North, and I've been, scrabbling my mind, in a long, long time. What is it that they need? And I think it's just the individuals to step up just a tiny little bit.
And here's the follow-up issue, right, for North, is that if they can't activate an AZ to bring him back to what we know he can do, same thing with Kirby, like where'd they go, right? Because again, we know that there's a pretty broad amount of talent, or within Denmark, but again, they're starting to get into teams. North are not necessarily as desirable of a team to join just off of their performances and everything. So, are you going to be able to lure people out of Optic, for instance, to join that team? Is that going to be the play? Or are you trying to where do you go? Where do you find the new talents that are actually going to be able to get to the same level that would be a peak AZ or a peak Kirby, right?
That's a good question. The thing is that North have money, right, and money talks. So in that regard, I don't think
that does help.
I don't think they're going to be worried in that regard. If they can offer a good enough salary, then players will come to North. But you're right, in saying that North right now in this lineup, that there's a lot of problems surrounding this lineup. But I will say, for the first time in a long, long time, I feel that they're on the right path. I feel they're getting better, and I feel guys like AC, guys like Kirby, and especially Valde, if he can keep it up, well, they're on the right path to something great.
Well, let's see if they are going to be up to something great, right? Because this game is going to be kicking off very shortly. And my question for you guys straight out the bat is, how is this working pound for pound, right? When you put these lineups head to head and just individual ability and skill, who are we kind of rating a little bit higher, right? Because we speak about Valde, but then I look at the rest of the North roster and I think it's a little bit rougher when you kind of compare it head to head.
There's no doubt that when you take player by player, pound for pound, skill for skill, I think NRG have the more individual skilled players. That said, though, I think North is just a complete different beast in terms of the team play. I think they have a very good understanding of how to play with and off each other, especially in terms of communication and in terms of how they adapt in the mid rounds. Whereas for NRG, they rely a lot on Breeze, they rely a lot on Ethan, they're gonna rely a lot on Tarek, stepping up as individuals. Then you have a guy like Cirque. Can he take over a game with the AWP? Sure thing. And then all of a sudden you have a very scary beast to play against. But it's tough to be that individual force to be reckoned with if you're playing a team like North, who's playing a very structured style of Counter-Strike.
Now the veto has run in, and obviously NRG banning Nuke, no surprise. North getting rid of Overpass. Then we've got a pick of Inferno and a pick of Dust 2.
The big thing now is that, again, these are two teams that don't necessarily play Clash all that much. And yeah, I was about to say who's gonna chicken out first, and that's gonna be NRG. So that gives a bit of flexibility for North in terms of where they want to take it afterwards. They're gonna end up with a Mirage ban, so we do end up on Train as our decider, which actually I think is pretty okay for both sides, all things considered. A pretty even map pool. I'd say going into Dust 2, I'd definitely favor a team like North. They've been playing it a lot as of late, and normally I'm not the kind of guy who likes having Dust 2 as kind of your go-to pick. I think it's way too volatile. We see it even with a team like Astralis, right? Like they get brought to the brink time and time again when they play that map. So yeah, it's not the safest, I guess, home map, if you could call it that, for any team, but I do give them the upper hand, at least on that map. So I think we might see a 3-mapper here.
I'm very curious to why NRG picked Inferno going up against North. That must be some internal practice that has been going on within the NRG camp. It must be them feeling very comfortable on the map, because North is by no means a bad team on Inferno. They're very skilled on it, very solid on it. They have some good results on it, and it's been the one consistent map they could always go to. So having, to play Inferno and then followed up by Dust 2, that's a scary scenario for NRG if they're not hitting their strides, especially on a map like Inferno. I could see this go 2-0 to North if they are not on point.
And I agree with you there, because I watched a game where I think it was ECS where North played Vitality and they manhandled them on Inferno, and I'm thinking, wait a second, this is Vitality. Normally you expect a little bit better from them on that sense, and I certainly favoured them going into it.
Sure.
So North is certainly a team you shouldn't underestimate when it comes to Inferno, so it could be something where they bit off a little bit more than they chew. But also, we've seen this from NRG many times in tournaments, especially when it gets to LANs. A slower start at the beginning and then they come up into it, but they've got no hope of that now. They need to deliver straight off the bat.
They do, and I think that's why this is such an interesting matchup, potentially the matchup of the day, because both teams have a lot to prove. Both teams have each their storyline to follow, and both teams are in a scenario right now where it would be a disaster for them not to make the playoff of a tournament like this. So this match is not going to determine anything of that, but it's going to give us an idea of where we can expect from teams like North, what we can expect from NRG going forward into this tournament, and I think that's why it's going to be such an interesting matchup.
Yeah, no, I completely have to echo that, really. Again, it's proving grounds for both sides, and that makes it obviously the matchup much more interesting to watch as well. I don't think we can lean too much into early starts, that kind of thing, in terms of who's going to actually come out victorious out of the matchup, but I'm really excited for it. And yeah, as you mentioned, Inferno probably not the best pick in sense of, or you don't get as much of an advantage as NRG would have liked to have going out of this veto for their own map pick. But again, that's kind of the issue with having to play chicken with cash, and the fact that North also a team that plays Nuke quite a bit as well, and pretty good at it to boot, but they are Danish, so I kind of just take that as a given when it comes to Nuke. So yeah, no, it should be a really, really fun matchup. I still side with North, though, whether it's going to be 2-0 or 2-1. Hard to tell as of right now, but I feel like the Danes are in a good form.
I'm just hoping that NRG have prepared something beyond belief with this, right? Like a new idea of how they're going to approach it, or a direct counter to what North can do going into Inferno. Because you look at just the results on this, when you're looking at it, North are playing against a lot more of a higher caliber of teams there, right? When you've got Avangard, Vitality in there. Obviously, the Vici ones was all the way back in the minor stages to try and get that last spot to qualify, and Vici did play out of their mind in it, let's be honest. But when it comes to what NRG are going up against, it's not really comparable.
No, and I think that's a good point to make, and especially also when you consider the practice they have. I think Dabs just said in the interview as well, the practice in NA right now is not especially good, and I think that's a huge problem. I've been there myself with Team Liquid. Sometimes you literally had days where you felt you wasted your time. You're playing teams that was not on your level.
Yeah.
No disrespect to anyone out there, but you don't get anything out of it. And I think NRG have a lot of wasted time compared to a team like North that, as you said, right now they're practicing against the very best teams in the world, and they do have a lot of, stuff that they learn from those games. When you're playing a FaZe, when you're playing a NIP, when you're playing Astralis in practice compared to when you're playing INTC or when you're playing E-United or whatever that may be.
Space Station
for that matter, right? It's just two different calibers of team, and that's without being disrespectful, but you don't learn that much if you're NRG compared to if you're North. So in that regard, they have an edge in the whole practice leading into this tournament.
And even just looking at Dust 2, this is where your 2-0 could be very much on the money here, Pimp, because it's yes, NRG, yes, you've played Dust 2 recently, no problem, but that team, Space Station, really, you can't compare it to any of the teams on the other side.
Yeah, no, it's true, and that's just the reality of the region, I guess. Not really anything NRG can do about it, but yeah, it is a bit of a daunting task for them. And then, yeah, again, even though you have a 100% win record over the last 3 months for NRG, again, it's all with an asterisk, right?
Yes.
And that's really what we have to say for pretty much any matchup that they get brought into. And the previous results for North on this map is looking pretty decent. I mean, the Avantgarde win is probably the most impressive one to me. I mean, we've known them to be a team on the rise as well.
Yep.
The fact that North pretty much manhandled them in that series is pretty interesting.
And I think ultimately when you're looking at this, right, it's a scary prospect for NRG, but also with Tarek, we don't know how much has changed, right? We don't really have that much information to go off of in comparison to what North can deliver. So you've just got to hope really that NRG have worked out some special tactics, so to speak.
Yeah, and I think that's going to be a factor too, right? Because we do know North, and I do know them as well, for being a team that likes to prepare for their opponents. And there's going to be this asterisk to this whole NRG lineup, as even Deb said in the interview. We don't even know ourselves how we're going to play yet. We don't even know ourselves how we're going to adapt and what our new meta is going to be and how we're going to approach the games. Neither do North. So they're going to have a struggle to prepare for this NRG lineup. Obviously, there's going to be tendencies that they've seen before. You know, they're not going to change the entire thing. Some of the players will play in the same positions and all that kind of stuff. But in general, you can't get the whole picture from NRG right now. And that's going to be a struggle for North, which is a team that relies a lot on preparing for their opponents in that regard.
Well, actually, just kind of like jump on that as well, because me and Banks, obviously not Danish, we don't necessarily have the luxury of knowing everyone like in depth in that sense. But North, after the major, obviously decided to I guess, part ways with Ave as a coach and brought in Mither. Mither never like a top tier Danish pro player at any given point in either 1.6 or Source or CSGO for that matter. But do you have any sort of knowledge in terms of like what he can bring to the table as a coach? Is it straight up just going to be like the demo grinds and like reading, like pretty much like figuring out what your opponents do to the very nitty gritty stuff, or does he have anything else to potentially?
Yeah, you said it yourself, right? He's never been a part of the top scene within CS:GO or in Counter-Strike Source for that matter. So I never played with or against him. I think he's a grinder. I think he's a guy who's been involved with Counter-Strike for a long, long time. He studies the game a lot, so he's like you can compare him to a football manager like Jose Mourinho, for example. Right? He's not a professional football player himself, but he studied the game so much that he knows it in and out. And I get the same feeling when we talk about Mythal. I think it's a guy that they've picked up, because he's a hard worker. I think they needed that. I think they needed that extra boost of motivation. And yes, there's different types of coach. There's a guy like Zeus for MIBR who is a very motivational coach. He's more like a player manager in some aspects, where a guy like Mythal, he's going to be that hard grinder. He's going to watch the demos. He's going to give them the information, and they're going to act accordingly to that information. So he's maybe not going to be the guy that is going to tell Kadian to relax or to, manage him on an emotional level. But when it comes to the game, I sense that he's very good at what he does.
That should be very fun as well, because then you have, again, two comparisons within the team as well. The fact that you have Amapet on the side of NRG, who, again, kind of got into the scene in the same fashion. Mythar now obviously trying to prove his worth for the Danes.
Well, a bit of slice and dice. We'll see North at least take the knife round, which is going to get the starting choice on what we see here for Inferno. Got to ask you guys straight off the bat, how do we think this is going to go just for map 1?
I mean, I think it's going to be a close match regardless. I think these two teams are going to match each other well. Like every time we have seen them play and go up against each other, it's been some close matches, very thrilling matches. So I expect no less this time around. As said, I do think North is the stronger lineup right now. I think they have a better foundation. So I would be surprised if they're not going to walk away with this one. It could be 2-0, it could be 2-1. It's going to be close regardless. Yeah,
it's going to be really close. I'm actually, after listening to you talk about North, I've kind of leaned more towards a 2-0 actually. So if I have to put someone for Inferno, I'm actually going to side with North. I'm believing in the Danes for now.
I'm sorry about that.
No.
No, I got to agree with you, especially from what you were saying there, Pimp. Going into this, I was thinking, NRG all the way. Then we see this veto go down. I got to say, especially off the bat with Inferno.
So I've done my job good, huh?
Yeah, you have, yeah. I'm proud of you, Pimp. I'm proud of you. You've done it. You've sold the Danish dream. But now it's time for us to get into the game, and it's to get you the duo that you love to see the most. We got James Bardoff and DDK waiting in the wings. Guys, what do you think about this one?
I think that is a very interesting veto. I don't think Inferno is as clear-cut as, in terms of a 50-50, as they may have thought looking at the stats. North are about 56% with 9 maps played in the last 3 months, and NRG are about 80%. So, again, Inferno, such is the nature of the beast, where those stats can change at any time. But it does look pretty solid for NRG.
Yeah, it's one of those maps which is often very difficult to predict. And what's really cool for us as commentators is we get to see sort of the narrative play out with how the teams will approach things strategically. And that's always really interesting because some teams, they like to take things very slow and start passive. Some teams like to just hammer banana straight away, send a statement home. And that CTT side, I think that's really what I find very interesting because for me, NRG, they have a really punchy T side when they get into the flow. I think it's when they get that hard and difficult start on the T side, that's when I start to lean towards North. So to me, it is a pretty 50-50 matchup. NRG, to me, one of those momentum teams. As I think, one of the criticisms of them in the past has actually been that maybe they don't quite have all the individuals to sort of fire themselves up if things are going badly and people get a bit quiet. Where do you see things going, James? Or do you think Tarek is going to add that element?
Absolutely. I think Tarek is definitely an injection of personality in that regard. And I'm looking forward to Dust 2 as well, because I feel like he's somebody who could potentially pick up a second AWP for the roster. I think in previous teams, you may have not been able to see that as much as you might potentially on a map such as Dust 2, on a team such as NRG. So that could be quite interesting. Also worth noting that Cirque just about made it in time, had some visa issues, but got there in the end, which was pretty cool. I was hoping to stand in for the team, but we both know that was probably never, ever, ever going to happen. But
yeah. And what an exciting player he is as well. He's always, to me, like the standout. I mean, there's so many amazing talents on that team. It's one of those, it is that team where there's 5 players. Well, I mean, obviously Daps
there are 5 players now.
Daps is not considered to be a young upcomer, but he's the old vet that's kind of guiding and growing this new talent. But there are 4 incredibly talented players. Obviously Tarek coming in, I think it's definitely a better fit than MIBR. From that team recently, was on the sort of just standby for quite some time. So it's good to see that he's found a place as one of the best players in the North American region, and he can add some experience to, again, the otherwise quite young lineup. But Cirque, Ethan, Breeze, very exciting players. I cannot wait to see the disgusting things that we know Cirque is capable of on Inferno straight away.
Looking at North, Cadian, of course, I mean, I think he goes under the radar in some respects, that he has been the journeyman, at least from his country. Like, we've seen him practicing in some of our old studios when he's been in London doing desk stuff for us. He is a guy who went to North America, has come back. Definitely one of the longer roads in Counter-Strike, and he's continuing to grow as a person. He's still so young, which is pretty crazy considering how long he's been grinding for. And he's found himself in a really good spot with North. They had some early nice results, but North is a brand who have been looking for consistency for the very longest time, and maybe they can find it here at StarSeries.
Yeah, and NRG will in fact be on that T side as well to kick things off here for the pistol. We'll see everyone on Glocks. No raid bosses there. Ethan being the guy that picks up the nades. I would actually have expected that to be Daps, but Daps has got the Kevlar instead. So curious to see how this goes, and this is a fast play up middle straight away. Cirque opening things up with 2, and that does open up that A-bomb site completely. This is looking fantastic here so far for NRG. Valde trying desperately to get his team back in there, but Valde and AZ, those are the 2 big names to me recently for North.
Looking pretty good for NRG. They've got good post-plant positions. There's that late smoke after the bomb has been planted as well. Makes it really hard for the retake. Valde forced into a crossfire. 1 player in the graveyard, 1 player in the pit. That will be enough to shoot him in the face. And AZ doesn't have a lot to do. Do you save your perfect Kevlar of $650, or do you try and get $300 for a kill? He will be doing the former and move away with his Kevlar. Maybe he buys the helmet, maybe he doesn't, but he's probably carrying more value than he can expect to get from the remainder of this round, and NRG will take the pistol. Again, this is NRG's pick. They are a good 80% win rate in the last 3 months, so good start for them.
Yeah, and I was talking about how they play so well with momentum when it comes to that T side as well, and it's something where I was talking about Cirque's AWP. That's something we'll see more of on the CT side. One of the great things about him is that as someone that is so phenomenal with an AWP, if you put anything else in his hands, an AK, a pistol, whatever it is, he is an absolute monster as well. That's so critical for maps like this. You see some teams that don't quite have that flexibility. They have a player who's so much of a specialist on the AWP, they just want to find a way to get him on that AWP, and it can be awkward on the T side. And again, especially considering that NRG can be a very punchy, fast, dynamic team on the T side, you can really abuse those CT rotations off of strong defaults where you suffocate the CT's map control and information. And so having that extra AK in play so you can move quickly is really beneficial. So this is not the best start for North, but we're only 1 round in, so we'll have to see whether they will force buy here. I think it's very warranted.
Looking at the predictions of the analysts, they went 50-50, going between the English analysts and the rest as well, the different countries, 50-50 between North and NRG. there are some interesting ones for the later matches, but we'll get to them as and when. Where do you stand on this one, Dan?
I think it's really interesting. I think there's so many different ways you can take it. The way that I will probably take it at the moment, because we've obviously been able to see a lot of NRG in North in our online league recently with ECS, and I've been feeling more confident in NRG overall and their consistency across the best of 3. North, for me, sometimes they deliver, and sometimes they're just inconsistent. I feel like they're struggling a little bit here. Whereas NRG, I feel like they can hit that flow, they can play their game, and everything is going to be fine. But for North, sometimes they have to rely on players like Valde to go for a crazy clutch, or for AZ to really get them in there if stuff is not working out strategically. So for me, North is a less stable team right now, and so that for me is going to be an NRG pick.
Yeah, I would go with NRG as well. I think that if one team has to weather a storm, I think NRG at this point are more likely to do it. This is, I believe, the first LAN that NRG are playing with Tarek, which will be really cool. Nice to see the team all together. I don't know where Tarek lives at present. I know he's from the New York area, but I don't know if he's like in a house with some people or what the situation is. So to be on LAN is pretty good. I actually went to the player area earlier. The commentating area is completely separate in this establishment, so I went the entirely wrong way and went into the Imber TV studios, which is pretty cool. Nice spot. Saw all the player rooms and so on. So I could see where things were set up. So it's a good environment, I think, for the players. We have a pause, obviously. Not sure what the reason is at this point, but I'm sure it's just some early teething issues. First place is $250,000 at this tournament. If you come 15th to 18th, it is $4,000. So that is quite the cavity between first place and last place. Definitely don't want to be on the arse end of that.
Yeah, definitely. It's basically product prizes at that point, and no one likes those.
AZ is a guy. We've seen some really big performances from him recently.
Yeah, he's finding his form that people really began to see in 2015 when he was first really coming up and showing that he was a potential star talent. It was actually, I think back then it was, as a youngster, he had all the talent, he was able to perform, but it was just inconsistent because pressure was a big issue for him, like the nerves was a big issue for him, and so we've seen a big maturing process for him as a player, and he's doing fantastically well recently. Reminds me actually of Jacob. I feel like both Jacob and AZ had a similar star showing in that era, and then they both had a drop off for about the same amount of time, and for similar reasons, I think, and both are playing really well these days. So it's really that's very rewarding, considering that we've followed those storylines for so long. It's rewarding to see that they've picked themselves up.
Okay, and we are back into the game. Actually, what we haven't mentioned just yet is Cadian's AWPing. AZ's been pretty on point recently. He's had some great results in the ECS weeks. They played 2 weeks. They qualified in the second week after losing to a Vanguard in the first one. But there were some crucial points where you would expect an AWP to deliver every single time, where Cadian might have missed a trick here or there. I don't think on LAN against a team like NRG you can really afford to have those situations not go your way, so that's going to be interesting to watch as it continues.
Another interesting thing is actually North have gone for a save. This is actually a round where you very often see the CTs go for a force buy-in. I mean, they're actually doing some damage here with the pistols, as NRG are pretty happy to just test the waters here with these MAC-10s. These SMGs are making some money. AZ and Gade will survive with very low amounts of health, so they aren't really going to be picking up anything all that useful. P250 and a MAC-10 again, so that's a great way to do it for NRG. There's very little. I like how there's little thought in that round. They don't have to really execute anything complicated. It's just, hang on, let's just take this MAC-10, take this P250, investigate towards B. If it's that should be enough to deal with 1 or 2 players. If there is a stack and they die, well, the AKs are protected and they've got a free bomb site, so we win the round regardless. So I like that a lot from NRG, keeping it simple from the get-go. And North will hold on to the MAC-10 and the P250. But the question, James, is that normally the reasons why you see teams force buying in North's situation this round is because you don't really quite have enough money for all the utility to hammer Banana to play a really slow round on the CT side. And we all know that utility on the CT side of Inferno is a must.
Yeah, I would like to think that if you force buying on the second round, then your full buy is going to have an AWP straight off the bat. So to me, that is starting the right way, doing it right first time, which is a phrase which isn't said often enough. So we'll see if that happens. We have another pause here, but
Yeah.
let's see. Cadian is $50 shy of an AWP, but I'm sure he doesn't want to go AWP, no Kevlar, immediately. But again, if you're heavily reliant, or even if you're not, it doesn't have to be heavily reliant. But if you have a sniper as a star player, for example, then absolutely you want to get him on AWP sooner rather than later. But there are different styles to be had.
Yeah, it's interesting. I mean, we'll see them have a decent selection of grenades, but it's those incendiaries which really allow you to retake positions to force the T's out of position. And we've all seen the Astralis. I mean, Astralis they popularized a way to take banana where you control space with the Molotovs, and then you're able to actually finish players off with HE grenades because there's only like 2 places that they could possibly stand after all of the flames have gone down. So we won't be seeing that. I'd imagine we'll see them just sitting passively on the bomb sites. But if NRG play a slow default in this next round, which they very well might, I feel like a slow round gives NRG quite the edge. And it's actually up to North in this round to find a way with a pop flash or something like that with the good timing to get a kill, maybe in the mid round as NRG bring themselves into that top mid control. That could be a good spot for it. But I don't think they can just let NRG play out their default with no harassment.
These computer arms look really cool. I'm still just using box standard computer stand, which is a little annoying, even with a 60% keyboard, so I might have to invest in one of these eventually.
Yeah. The monitor arms are so cool. It frees up so much space, it's crazy. I feel like you're missing 50% of the space on your desk if you don't have them.
Yeah, that's definitely worth getting into. We just saw a fly-through of the A bomb site, and from double stack, on the corner of short, there is the pillar has there's a little place where you can jump onto that pillar, which you haven't really seen. I don't think I've noticed it. At least in the professional games that I've watched, I haven't seen anybody up there just yet. If you're there with a silenced M4, the silencer gives your position away. I'll point it out next time it's on the screen, just so people will know what I'm talking about. But it's I think it's a position where you could get maybe 2 kills. So I do wonder if we'll eventually see that from a team at some point on Inferno. So hey, since we have a pause, did you see all this hoo-ha with Vertigo? Plus Vertigo, minus cash.
I mean, minus cash, fair enough, but I don't know. I actually haven't really run around on Vertigo that much, James. Last time I played Vertigo was 1.3. So, and I played it a lot, but it was 1.3. So it's a while ago for me.
I haven't played it in so long. I had to think is it a diffuse map or is it a hostage map?
Yeah.
Bloody hell. I was on it the other day because I just wanted to troll Valve with their counter of like if a T falls off the side of the building, there's now one of those safety signs that says X amount of days since it's an accident or whatever. They have one of those, so I wanted to put the counter up to the number of days since we've seen a map you could draw on in CS:GO. Funnily enough, my actual request for our counter in the studio was one of those safety signs, which would have been really ironic, but they made a nicer, kind of tidier version instead. So, is somebody working on a PC or something? I'm guessing maybe there's some kind of sound issue.
It's usually a sound thing, isn't it? Sound is really tricky, actually, after having set up multiple setups with mixers and stuff like that, and then all of a sudden you introduce there's some interference somewhere, and you have to work out what that is. And sound is it made me really appreciate how difficult sound is. However, we do see a lot of TeamSpeak issues, which is perhaps not quite as complex as some weird interference thing. So
yeah, it's curious when it happens on LAN.
Yeah,
but I've never tried to set up a LAN TeamSpeak server, so
yeah, I don't know either how that really goes.
Yeah, I remember speaking of LAN and TeamSpeak. The last time I went to StarSeries, one match. We were playing the team who were diagonally opposite us, and one of the guys had one of his ear cups off so he could hear our callouts. So we had to start nice. Faking our callouts and then typing our plans in TeamSay. Although once in terms of TeamSay, I used to play for a team in Day of Defeat, and we were playing on another team server. And one of my teammates, he typed to another guy in TeamSay, and then he replied to his question. So it's there used to be mad dodgy stuff going on back in the day. You couldn't do anything if you were playing on someone else's server.
I miss the days when, like, I mean, it was more common in Quake, but I did see it happen in CS in the old days, where you would actually bind certain specific, call-outs to your team on the keyboard. So you just press a button, and maybe it would, for example, in Counter-Strike, at the beginning of the round, instead of having to comms to everyone or talk over people, it's like, boom, this is the round. Like the leader, like, I press this button, here is like everyone knows what this means, and everyone just goes and does that. Obviously, these days, if you downloaded the demo, you would see stuff. So maybe that's one of the reasons why people wouldn't consider that. But also, I mean, you could encode it, I suppose. But
that's pretty cool.
I mean, I don't know if that's just like a thing that just doesn't really make sense these days. But
well, if you're playing with mates, like with regular people, and you got some chatterboxes, then
yeah, that's actually yeah, you're right. Actually, might actually have more use in a pug or something, or
if you're playing with randoms.
Yeah.
I don't know, because it would vary so much, like per map and so on.
That's true. You do have to like.
You need more like universal things. Yeah. Through the library.
Yeah. Books look aged.
They don't make them like that anymore. It's all IKEA now.
Yeah, that's all about the Kindle for me these days.
Man, my seat on the plane was so bad, I just stood up at the back and drank vodka and read my Kindle. Actually finished 2 books, which was pretty cool. Normally I'm just smashing out the Switch games.
What are you reading?
Autobiography, and I can't actually remember what the other one was, probably because of the vodka. Okay, here we go. We're going to the A site. So that pillar, which has just gone out of view, let's see if it goes back into view. So where the big A sign is, to the left of it, you can jump up on top of double stack. Then you jump across. Now you can see that pillar, the bit that sticks out. There's like 1 or 2 pixels. You have to be lined up really specifically, but you can jump up and stand on that ledge, basically, and not be showing to the short position. But it's something that I haven't seen. I'm not saying it hasn't been done, but I haven't seen it in any of the programs that I've watched, anybody standing up there. So if you were coming up short, you wouldn't see the guy, to see the edge going away now. So I do wonder, I mean, if you run a gimmick in 1 round, it can turn a tide of a match for you. Obviously, that is less so now that we have the new economy system, because before, if you could reset somebody with a gimmick like that, you could go a hell of a long way. But now it's a brave new world. So it won't have as big an impact as it might have in the past.
It's very scenic out there. I always want to go out there. That's the problem. Go out there.
Man, watching Rops play this position on the CT side is pretty cool.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Rops is a god.
Yeah, he used to have some gimmick smokes which would land, I think, on the balcony, on the rail here. So if a T was coming up, their legs would be exposed and he could shoot them. But of course, you can spray the door down the bottom from the CT side of the apps as well. So that this is things like that, which is why I always call out people on GoTV in the less obvious. It might not be like the most explosive person or role on the server, but it's the one that you might learn the most from about playing a particular position. So it's always good to watch Rops if he's playing in that spot.
Yeah, he had a pretty incredible showing in the new look at Mouse Sports recently. He's been putting in the hours. It's always really cool when you see a team with renewed energy in that sense. And Mouse Sports were one of the teams that, maybe the team that suffered the most from burnout, I would say. At least, I don't know how it affected them individually, but as far as the sheer volume of tournaments that they went to, back to back, all this crazy traveling and all that kind of stuff, it was no wonder that the results started to drop off. I mean, I think it's only natural. I think you got to really be careful about recovery. I mean, you wouldn't see any top level athletes just not spend any time on recovery. It's like actually an enormous area of sports performance is recovery, and I feel like they had way too little of that. And so I hope that that all as a whole, as a unit, learns from that experience, but also with the new team that they can have success to, because they're really exciting, actually. Speaking of Robs.
That's yeah.
And speaking of Robs.
Yeah, that chicken would not let you open the door if you tried to open it from the other side. Chickens are game breaking. Oh God, I'm amazed that I think they probably like that. You have to have some quirky things to get highlights from in a game, but trying to open the door and being blocked by a chicken and then being shot from the balcony, I can only imagine how that feels.
It must be so confusing because you don't consider that. It's not something you think, oh well, it must be a chicken standing there. You don't think that. That's funny.
Yeah, there are little things like that. And also, if you look at the football, which is on Dust 2, if you run at the football, obviously it kicks the football, right? But if you walk at the football, it also kicks the football. I think, in fairness, it's very unlikely that on Dust 2, that football is going to end up in a position where that might actually have an impact on something. But I think if things like that are going to be more prevalent, then, you know, if you walk into the football, it shouldn't like kick the football like it does if you run.
Does it always spawn in the same place? Actually, I've never checked that. It must be random.
I think
spots
it's
and T-spawn,
roughly
right?
in the same area, just like you have a big square where the Ts and CTs spawn, apart from Vertigo, actually. I don't know if you saw 3 Clicks Phillips' video. One thing Henry often talks about is the spawns that, I think it was in Source, where they'd be in the same spot, so you know you have a certain timing. I think I want to say that 3 Clicks Phillips' video suggested that that was the case, at least for one of the sides. I think the CTs have more forward spawns on Vertigo, so that will be interesting to see. I saw that DreamHack Rio, I want to say, are picking Vertigo up. I'd be surprised if anyone plays it though, but
Yeah.
I don't know when it is, but I mean, like, no one has any idea, I don't think, how to play Vertigo. They've added loads of bits and bobs and objects, and it's very on top of itself. So trying to like AWP, for example, will be very interesting on that map.
Yeah,
That's going to be crazy.
I haven't really looked at it properly just yet. I mean, that kind of happened as I was traveling, so I haven't really got like. I mean, I remember Vertigo's layout. I don't know how much they've changed it from the original, but yeah, it was weird, especially like with the ladder as well.
I love the ladder.
Yeah, just like boosting people up it. If you're
I actually have many fond memories of Vertigo.
It's an interesting one. I'm looking forward to seeing how that turns out. But for me personally, I would just like to see. I mean, if you're going to remake maps, like let's remake some classically good 5v5 maps, like Tuscan or something, or just get a bunch of guys from like get the top 3 mappers from Mapcore, hire them for 2 months, get them to collaborate on a new map and create something new.
I wonder what the monetary implications are for taking like a map from the Mapcore community, or why we haven't seen. Well, you know what I think is a shame? If you look at Santorini, I think that that would have been an interesting map to potentially add. However, I don't think that Valve are likely to add a map which is so obviously based on a real location and named after a real location. I feel like that's the kind of thing that the game could do without, especially considering the climate that the world is in at the moment. So I think that that's something to consider for map makers.
Yeah, they have some restrictions. I remember we ran a map called content piece. You remember that? Just like start like doing a map start to finish, and it has to be the case that the map is not in any particularly sensitive spots as far as the game is concerned. So
yeah, a few people were talking about Abbey. For those of you who aren't aware, you can play a lot of the maps that are coming up with Mapcore. There are hubs on Faceit. That's not really like a company promo. It's just like if you want to play these kind of maps and see what is out there. There are hubs in North America and in Europe for that, which are free. So you can check them out there. So it was fun being a judge for those. Because I got to look around them a lot, make some videos. I hear game sounds, so maybe we'll be into it soon. Maybe it was a coach thing, I don't know. But I see headsets on, that's a good sign.
Yeah, it looks like Cirque is readying up.
Ooh, I hit a TikTok. We're going back into the game.
They're ready.
Round number 3, I do believe, and indeed North are on the buy. No AWP just yet, just shy on the money. They will have some smokes. Ooh, they got pushed down the mid position. Cirque's completely blinding us, blast into oblivion. I don't know how much information he got from that. I don't know if he was blind before they came pushing down. And there we are. So Breeze and Ethan have been taken out. Very aggressive from North. And this is one way to try and make up for a buy that isn't ideal. Daps, where could he be at the spot? The bomb is down on T ramp, and he's on 1 versus 3. This is doable for him, but as soon as he engages the first person, it's going to get a lot more difficult.
Yeah, and damage is really vital here too, because Yeah, this is actually quite interesting. This is perhaps North thinking a little bit. Well, I was gonna say a bit about the new economy, but they haven't really built up much of a loss counter right now. So we'll see if Daps can get some damage in here, and NRG will still be in a position where they can put the pressure on in the following round. But this is a great look. I mentioned that North would have to do something aggressive. I was suggesting maybe the mid-round timing against the default, but they've just blown NRG out of the water here. Daps will get a 3-1. That's beautiful. And is there anyone to trade him? No, there's not. So, as you said, James, there's a world where he can do it. He has access to the bomb now, and he could potentially find himself a 1 versus 1. He doesn't know that if there's anyone on the bomb just here, but he's got to... It looks like he realizes that he doesn't have the time to just check everything. He's just got to go for it, which is very smart of Daps. He's going for B, and he's going to be up against Gade. Can he do it?
20 seconds. He's got to check a fair amount of the site. There's a very nice off angle here, and Gade will do the work. 2 players surviving for North. Not ideal. They would have liked to have more, but they are off to winning ways, which is fantastic for them. And the money actually is pretty bad for North. Sorry, for NRG. I mean, arguably it's bad for both. I guess there is a discussion to be had. Do you force buy, considering North only had 2 players survive, which means everybody's weak. And it seems NRG will indeed go for the force buy and try to break them sooner rather than later.
Yeah, I love that. I love when teams just throw caution to the winds and they take a calculated gamble like North did with the aggression. And NRG, we really have a game on our hands from the get-go. I love that North is showing that they're willing to do that. And here are some incendiaries to stop NRG from progressing up the banana position. There's a late, I like this staggered use of grenades, and it's going to pay off massively because they get a pick from it. And they've exhausted a lot of NRG's grenades because they suggest that, hey, we're not investing that much. If you throw a little bit, we can go 50-50 on this. But then North reinvests with the advantage. This is a great start from North, James. They look ready, very ready at the start of this best of 3.
Another grenade kill for North. I do wonder if this is going to be a consistent story. Still 3 players with AK-47s for NRG, so not a terrible situation for them. They will exchange the weapons. Daps is always holding the Ls for the team. He's the king of the L taking. Not about ego, it's about team effort. He'll take the CZ at 75 and leave his team well equipped to do the best job possible. They're waiting out the grenades. You can see Tarek moving away from top mid at present. Maybe there was some presence shown there. North don't have vision of top mids now, which means they are, if they rotated, it would be complete guesswork. So let's see if they will do something. Ooh, another smoke grenade. That's a real problem. Flashes towards a poor position. They can peek at the same time. The CT so far so good. Kirby and AZ cleaning house. Now he's buying some time. Is there a deep flash from the teammates in CT? There is. Doesn't come in time. Kirby will get the kill anyway.
Great hold there from North. Again, a great start. We talk about that dynamic with utility on the banana position, and we see so many different ways that the meta's developed there. We've seen teams... I mean, actually, I think it was North that we saw James putting, correct me if I'm wrong, actually put 5 on banana at the beginning of a round once, somewhat recently in an online match. But we see that meta developing all the time. There we see staggered use of utility there to bait the T's in, thinking that, oh, they probably just went conservative this round, but actually no, they re-execute into banana and then absolutely take your faces off, just like Gade did there. And again, another good start here for North, everything going according to plan. Just against the Glocks, though, so not really all that much threat in this round for them. I'm really impressed by North, how they're really taking initiative in every single round.
Absolutely. Taking the game away from NRG, and a team as strong as this, you definitely want to be playing like that if you can get away with it. Obviously, they can't go super aggressive, running down mid every single round. Keeping them on their toes may slow down NRG and kind of put them off their own game in the rounds to come. No frags for NRG. Fantastic news for North, who are trying to restabilize their economy after an early round loss. 3 for 2, and the AKs are coming out for NRG. As these halves develop, again, we will look at the... I always like to focus on a T-side AWP because I think it is quite difficult to be effective before the bomb goes down, and that's obviously quite a lot of the round. So if a sniper is able to make a difference on the T side, then it's always interesting to watch. But for now, it is all rifles that aren't AWPs. 2 AKs collected by North from the likes of Kiabi and Gade. Not a bad spot for North.
Yeah, and NRG, they've got to take the initiative back against North here, and it's real guesswork as to what North are really up to. They've been so aggressive in so many of these rounds. This time what they're doing is they are playing sort of a counter strat should NRG just rush A with a fast timing. Because that would be a good way for NRG to respond to North's crazy aggression, is to throw one into the mix themselves. Maybe assuming that North would start off with 2 to 3 players aggressive on Banana, which does leave an early timing window for you to attack A as a T side with favor. So you can see both teams really considering the meta. They're really trying to condition one another on the decision making, and we have things balancing out here. North taking a lot of gambles. They're not playing for info at all, and they're just stacking towards A or B so far in this round. So that's really the name of the game here for them. And you can see NRG, they're actually going towards A. They've guessed correctly.
You can see Cadian starting to rotate back towards B, having seen nothing going on. He's got enough angle towards the arch position. 33 seconds left. There are a lot of teams now who aren't shy to go for these late rounds. The smoke on arch, and Cadian tells his opponent that he's out of position. Valde, nice burst from him. 23 seconds, trying to buy time for the rotation. Gade misses a shot there. That's a big frag for Ethan. Cadian stuck in the library position. There's another player rotating to arch as well, but the bomb needs to get planted. 13 seconds left, and it seems it would be planted in the middle of the site, but Valde's still in the pits.
Yeah, that's a huge problem. They haven't really pressured this. Do they even know about Valde? Well, looks like they certainly will now. Breeze will go down, and look how horribly constricted NRG's positions are now on the bomb site. They're just stuck there. They can be sandwiched between Val. They got to look 2 ways. Cirque has to go deep here. Flash is coming in. Nice first headshot. Can Cirque find anything else? Absolutely not. Down to Daps and Ethan, and it looks like Daps is going to get things started off well. Oh, Daps, he's really performing here. Back against the wall in the site. Valde's just been holding position. It is a strong one, but now his teammates are gone. He can't do a single thing, and looks like he can just get a frag. Oh, can he survive? I don't know. He might be able to. It's at the back of the site. He will survive, I think. So good work from Valde, but even better from Daps. That is clutch work from him.
Very nice hold from Daps, leading by example in the middle of the A bomb site. Credit to Valde as well. After getting the kill post-plant, he went underneath the balcony in case somebody pushed from maps and just became a threat. They have to worry about him. He could peek at any time, and he's staying alive by going passive in that position to cause problems for NRG. They don't know where to look. There's a player waiting on their right. There's players coming from their left. So obviously you can see why he's a pro player and why he's on a team like North from play like that. Great instincts from him. Wasn't enough on this occasion. Both teams with the rifles. 4 players starting towards the B bomb site for North, and this is not the first time we've seen something like that from them. Very unlikely that NRG are going to go charging towards A, so they will put some extra personnel towards that B bomb site to secure Banana and such early on.
And it really creates a lot of questions, because you can never, when you're playing against North, the CT side, you can never be 100% sure how much utility is left on B, because, as I said, we've even seen them go 5B at the start of the round. That's happened once or twice before that I've seen. So it's something that they've mixed in before. And on the utility game, NRG are not doing too well. So those 4 kills that Valde got, as James pointed out so well, you know, Valde, he was unable to win them the round, but he got 4 kills. He made certain that as little players could survive as possible. And now NRG are in a situation where they only have this option, forcing their way through onto B. The bomb is still down by T steps, however, and so they're really trying to force out more utility with this pressure and hoping desperately they can get a pick. That's an okay result. 40 seconds to go, and they've taken a lot of utility away, and they've got a rotation on B. There's 3 on B now for North.
Problem is, AZ still has a smoke grenade on the B bomb site, so we can put something down there. Gade still got a smoke grenade towards the pit position. We saw how he used it last time. Maybe he does the same this time. And Cadian, with an AWP now, is moving towards that library area, so he's not going to get cut off this time because the push is coming up in that short area. Valde gets absolutely wrecked, so does Gade, and that might just beat around. Cadian backing off immediately. Definitely point of no return. Don't want to pick that too much. Outmaneuvered by NRG. With a clean take of the A bomb site, not losing a single player, and now it's time for North to save and try to hold on to what they have.
And with the little utility that NRG did have, they did such great work, because North know that they don't have a huge amount of utility. So with that much threat and presence towards B, of course NRG are going to pull a rotation. And you know, with the smokes that were down as well, it allows them to stick their necks out fairly far in towards B, almost towards pool, where you have to be worrying about that push. And then to go back to A, this is some really high-level stuff, because it's walking the knife's edge. If you lose a player in that push, your push back to A becomes so much weaker. and easier to handle. You sacrifice all your utility as well, so it has to pull a rotation, it has to work, and it came out very effectively in the end for NRG. So 4-3. This is a fantastic series, James. From round one, we've had both teams playing really well. Just playing the meta really well. Individually, we've seen some great stuff. I'm loving the strategies and the call-outs and the bluffs that we're seeing from both sides. They're really trying to get into one another's heads, and they're both, really trying a lot of cool stuff. The fact that North play a round where they decide not to take any map control and they decide just to stack towards different timings towards different bomb sites. And then there's a round where they try to take heavy initiative, go for really fast aggression, or rounds where they tentatively try to get information, or rounds where they try to just throw some utility to suggest that they're doing something, and just make it very obscure for NRG. This is already a very high level match. This is great.
Valde with 9 kills early on. Very important considering the position he's playing. Daps, again, leading by example with 7 kills. I'd be very surprised if he was leading by the end of the second half, but it's pretty cool to see him delivering as well. Plenty of players coming up the second mid position for NRG. Got to be really careful. Oh, they're looking to go very fast indeed. They're going to charge up top mid. Flashes over the roof. Valde is at the point of no return now. 70 sound. He looks the wrong way, loses his teammate, but he will trade the kill. And the NRG are charging all over. They're on the A bomb site with 1:30. What the hell is this?
This is exactly what I was talking about before. There's that timing window sometimes when when a team like North invests in Banana, where you can get a 3 bomb site by going really fast. I love that we've seen that from NRG. That's really cool. That's going to keep. They're going to go for the save here. They know that there's too much post-plant utility. There's too much control from NRG in this post-plant situation that it's very, very difficult with their economy so weak as it is to go for this, and they can just have a better shot in the next round. And this is brilliant, because what this shows as well is that North, a team, we've already seen it. They love to go 4 Banana sometimes, 3 Banana at the start of the round. If NRG do stuff like this, they can't do that.
Yeah, exactly. It is definitely a cat and mouse game in that regard, and it's really interesting. North with their aggressive plays early, trying to tell NRG, you need to respect us because we're going to play our game, and you need to be afraid of that. And NRG is saying, we know what your game is. You like to gamble, we'll gamble as well, and now you can't play your game anymore because otherwise you will lose.
And that's almost like a Banana control thing. Even though the round didn't take place on Banana, in the future rounds now, it's going to make Banana control weaker for North because they can't threaten, or in theory, they shouldn't threaten as many players on Banana.
This is very much like a poker thing which is going on. It's like I'm trying to condition you to be afraid I'm going to do this, and I'm going to condition you that you can't do that because I'm going to do this. Now, are you brave enough to continue to play your game, North, and continue to do that? That is the question, because then it really becomes a war of attrition. Molotov's down mid very early on, a play towards Nana as well. There's a trade. AZ will hold on to things for the time being. Oh, no, he won't. He gets wrecked by Ethan. That was nasty. Those are big losses for North early. Minute 40 on the clock. It's a 3 versus 4.
Yeah, there's so much utility too for both sides. What do you do here as North? Do you just stack towards 1 bomb site, all 3 players? Their economy, again, is not in great place, so that could be something they could look to do, but they're not going for that. They're just going to give Cadian the responsibility of B by himself, playing somewhat passively, and they're going to split up on A as well. This is going to be very difficult, but they have, like Valde, Cadian, Gabe, they're all individually capable of great things. And Gabe gets I don't know how he found that, I think through the smoke potentially. So that definitely makes things a lot better. 3 versus 3 now.
That was a panic grenade. That was never going up short in a million years. Tarek's creeping. Gabe's behind double stack. He's got an off angle, but there are 2 angles to pick from. Moving away now. Repositioning hasn't been spotted in the middle box. I don't know if Tarek's given a sound cue away, but he spotted him. Moving into the graveyard position. Trying to get some map control now with the Molotov. Valde and Cadian in a 2 versus 3, but Cadian's gone down T ramp. He's really playing it safe. So I don't know what North's intentions are, because Cadian's miles away, and he's the man with a diffuse kit, as well as the AWP. It seems he is saving. He's not really moving up. So it looks like this round might be over.
And another really cool round, each round that we have in this matchup, as you were saying, because it's like so cat and mouse, it's all about conditioning and getting in each other's heads. It's something where each round adds to the narrative in a pretty big way, because one of the questions we were looking to see in this round is if North would respect NRG a little bit more on Banana and just play a normal 2-3 setup at the beginning of the rounds, but they didn't. They played 3-2, and that's something that NRG saw as well. So do NRG decide to say, hey, you're ignoring the fact that we can just rush up to A? Do they try to go for that? Because it is one of those things where you only throw it in once or twice a match. How do NRG respond now?
Again, this is the pick of NRG. Very interesting game of Inferno so far. And you can see why people weren't so sold it was a clear-cut pick for NRG on the desk. AWP for both sides now, so we can focus and see what Cirque is able to do on the T side. I think he might be one of the more capable snipers in that regard. Early grenades down Banana from North. Being more careful than previous. Of course, on the CT side, you do want to change up your activity at the beginning of rounds and your general formation. You can't play the same way every round. NRG will do their initial investigation work, making sure no one is doing anything silly in the apartment area. Got 2 players on short for North at the moment, and there is Cirque with the T-side AWP. Boom!
Yeah, somewhat of a bait there, and that's really going to destabilize things heavily for North. They'll have AZ rotating around, but he's only got a single smoke. He goes for the challenge, but he's out of position. And that might be the round right there, because although the bomb is on T steps, this is on under lock and key, this bomb site now, and you can see that they're already hunting NRG for these remaining North players. Get rid of all the money. And that simple bait, James. Cadian took a risk, and that risk was the straw that broke the camel's back for their defense in this round.
This is the third round, I think, where they've been swiftly outmaneuvered and forced into a safe situation with at least 3 players alive, North. So they need to use this time where the bomb's ticking away to try and figure out, right, how do we stop these situations from happening, because NRG is starting to run away with this T side.
It's a scary prospect as well that Cirque is now pulling out the AWP, because we see the application for it there. If the CT side tries to find picks towards Banana, the threat that Cirque is able to trade or able to wait for your peaks with that AWP, that's a pretty big problem, and he could be anywhere as well. So we'll have to see Cadian moving around with a lot with the AWP if he is to continue to have the money to pick it up. And right now, James, it feels like NRG are firmly in momentum. It feels like North have had a few rounds now where they've lost a few too many duels, and things are looking a little bit grim. So they've got to get a good performance now under their belts to resuscitate that confidence.
Yeah, their money just got bodied. Just for those of you who are just connecting to the stream, under the map you can see the series of maps, Inferno, Dust 2 and Train. So it's nice to keep an eye on that. Inferno, the pick of NRG, and it's looking pretty damn good at the moment. Tactical pause from North again. They need to, there are some things they need to figure out here, such as, like, they keep losing maybe 2 players quickly, and that's just the end of the round in maybe 30 seconds. Need to turn this around. Their aggressive plays had early success, but it was extinguished pretty quickly by NRG. Let's see what we've got here. Kiabi trying to survive in the library position, but in the words of Wesker, you will not survive. All right then, they've gone for a pistol buy. Kiabi had 5,800, so I guess he has dropped a few things to his teammates. NRG with the usual shtick. Actually, they're all moving up second mid together, and those are those flashes over the roof again. Are they going for a fast round on what? Again, like with the new economy, I don't know if they're really estimating the current economy of their opponents. Cadian spotted 2 players, but there's only so much he can do, and there isn't really anybody else in position to capitalize on this.
Yeah, what a great pick for NRG. You can't always know. Obviously, it is much like poker, where sometimes you're just going to go for a gamble, even if you're already confident. Like 80%, 80% that's a big number, James. 80%, you want to take those plays, and even if you're certain that something's going to happen, sometimes you're going to be wrong. But this time, NRG were not wrong, although these pistols are pushing forwards, and it's looking very scary, actually, doing so much damage. AZ picked up an AWP. You what, mate? How on earth did they manage to collect that? Obviously, you can't do too much here without the kit, trying to just cause mayhem, panic, chaos, all of the above, and more. But it will be the round for NRG regardless, and I'm not sure that economic damage is going to play too much of a part into this half, but we'll have to see.
Yeah, it won't really matter. The T side is where you want to have that war of attrition. It's a lot better than on the CT side, which is a lot more expensive in general. 8-3 for NRG. It takes a good 4 or 5k away from most of those players, but they still have a good 4 or 5k or more in the hole, so it really doesn't make a difference at this point. 4 rounds to go in this half. Cadian on AWP once again. I see some aggressive plays in mid, trying to find something. not really getting much of anything. Early smoke off, and we'll see what North choose to do next. Got 2 players top of Banana who look like they're going to get their execute game on. Double nades towards the tree position, seeing nothing there. Smoke down towards the bottom. Still need to see if anybody's on the left side, and that's what that flashbang is for, so they can't face if somebody was there. Not a bad idea. But NRG will immediately take Banana afterwards.
Yeah, at the cost of 2 flashbangs maybe versus the 2 full nade sets of North. So yeah, that's not worked out ideally. North have tried to make 2 aggressive plays, that and also Cadian's aggressive warp. Neither have really worked out here. Instead, what's happened, as those things haven't worked out, is they're behind now in this round, and they need to get a big individual performance to rectify that. And it's going to be tough because we've got 5 angry NRG players about to march into this B bomb site, and there is not all that much to stop it.
NRG's pushes have had a lot of different varied timing. Kiabi he's praying to God in that fountain. The fish god maybe, but it's not going to help him. No Aquaman on the B bomb site, and that might be the round again. But how many rounds could North really choose to give up? We've got a late rotation just in case of a lurker, but NRG are all on the B bomb sites at this point. There is a molly. This can go towards the dark position. So there's enough utility for North to go for this retake. Trying to force the players out. Oh no, that's with another shot. Staying at the top of the leaderboard. 2 versus 2. Still smokes going down. 1 towards Banana. That just says that there's no CTs coming in that position. Cirque misses the flick, and this will be an unlikely round for North after all.
Ooh, yeah. That's gone very wrong, hasn't it? They set up the trades, and I think they all thought, okay, well, Daps goes to the P, that's fine, he dies, I'll get the trade. I mean, Daps had 2 players lining up for him as well, so that is indeed very unlikely, and a much-needed round as well. And that's obviously it's not going to impact the money too much for NRG, but just the very fact that they pick up a round there, I was actually seeing a 12-3 half happening had that not been the case. Really important pickup here for North to get them back into this one. NRG will be quite annoyed with that, I'm sure.
I do wonder if we will see an evolution of the CT retake smoke on Banana, because at this point it's telling the Ts on the site where there are no CTs coming on Banana, so they just don't need to worry about that anymore. And he can even use that as a brick wall. But here we are, an unlikely run for North. Cirque missing a crucial shot up close. It is early though, we'll see if he warms up as the series continues. All best of 3s.
Yeah, and he's got Dust 2 next, James. So if he's not warm using an AWP on Inferno, then I think he's going to have ample opportunity on the next map.
What is interesting, though, from what we've seen from NRG, the way they retook Banana on the previous round just tells me that they are well studied on North, and North are going to have some surprises in the bag if they are to have a solid showing in this series. Can they get enough rounds, though, North, to have a good chance in the second half? Again, NRG, I think you have to say they are favourites just based on the statistics for the last 3 months. Again, they are 80% in terms of their win rate, where North is about 56.
They're just more consistent, I would say, or that's what they offer at least. And they've been reading the map really well so far on their T side. They've made things very difficult for North. We've seen North, though, having very strong T sides themselves, so it's it's Counter-Strike, it's not over till it's over. 4 players here to defend for North. This is actually looking kind of good. Usually NRG beat them to the punch on these rotations, but I feel like North have a really strong setup here. No one in pit, though. That might be a problem. We'll have to see as NRG start to push further forwards. My God, Breeze, he only had 1 frag, James, but those are 3 enormous kills coming in. All headshots, of course. He's turned up in this round and just really sent the statement straight home to North.
How about that? Breeze, he's a nuclear bomb who's ready to explode at any time. Dropped from the airplane, and there it is. No one left. Scorched earth on the A bomb site. North have to save again.
I actually think he only had 1 kill before this round, James.
Yeah.
So
Daps has been doing the heavy lifting. A man like that. Oh! He fired the shot. Where did the shot go?
Oh my God. I'd love to see that in slow motion from Cadian's perspective.
I wouldn't. It's too early in the day, Dan. It's just gone midday out. It's too early for that. That was nasty. Ethan's he's a great player to watch in terms of how he peaks and just decimates people. But a good one to watch in the demos, just in terms of learning how to peak angles. Maybe I should do it as well. People always criticize my movement. Oh God, please don't do it. All right, Breeze. Okay. Very nice stuff. Spots Daisy. Look how he just snaps straight to his face. He's a Dalek.
Yes, they've all been terminated on the A-bomb site. And they're back onto the CZs after a short taste of victory in what was perhaps a mistake, an overstep from NRG. NRG has said, all right, we'll just correct it. They've righted the ship. And they're up against the pistols now. And these rounds, though, they are very difficult to deal with. CZs and a lot of the utility behind it on Inferno on the CT side is perhaps the strongest look for a force buy, or the strongest map for a force buy of this nature. Or, this is a half buy, sorry, I shouldn't say force buy. I apologize. NRG playing it passive, though. They're reading the money really well, I would say, so far, James. They seem very much up together with exactly what's going on in the North camp at any one point.
Oh, the timing. That's great play from North. They hear the reloads, charge in. The man is defenseless. Defenseless! And now they are at a great advantage. And NRG know that their best chance to win this round is to push the B-bomb site immediately. Pushing through, but there's a gap in the smoke. Is there a trade? There's a trade from Daps. Probably still top fragging at this point. KRB takes a shot. Now they know that one person is close. Got to be careful. Surely you want Cirque to plant, yes, while the AK covers just in case somebody pushes through the smoke. Going up top, is he able to flick Brigade? Now he's on his own, 1 versus 3. How does he do this? Does he push through the smoke? There's the first flick. The Tech 9 is out, just in case someone's close, having a shot. Somebody's by the coffin position. Can they move at the same time? Misses a flick again, and that will be another round in the bag for North.
I really like when Cirque pulled out the Tech 9 and spammed it through a few shots through the smoke. I like that he did that because when you do that, sometimes what you do is you bait the CTs into shooting, and if a CT shoots, then he has a position of one of the two players, which is a huge deal in those situations. So kind of a cool little detail. But yeah, we see that's just bad timing on the reload, and Tarek was going to get wrecked by the mob there. After that point, it's that dodgy smoke. That's really what screwed Ethan. That's dodgy smoke.
We're seeing that more often than not, those smokes with gaps towards the B-bomb site. Now, if you look at the current score, 9-5, I think NRG will feel like North should have no more than 3 rounds. But indeed, North have maybe won enough to bring something to the second half. It's Cadian missing a shot towards second mid, but again, he's got away with it, so just consider that part of the warm-up. There's still time to deliver some frags later on. An exchange of grenades on Banana. This has been very brittle for North, these holds of Banana, but they continue to press forward. They'll play their game. No smoke down the bottom, and they'll start to move back.
So one more round.
That's not a good sign, Dan.
Be collected on the. Yeah, what's that?
He
can't hit the chicken?
Yeah. I mean, if he can't hit the chicken, can he hit NRG, Dan? That's the question.
One more round to be collected. Who is going to pick it up? NRG have been really good so far. I have to say I was really impressed, and I have been really impressed by North, but NRG just so overwhelmingly good that they are looking so strong off the bat here in this best of 3. Some teams are slow to warm up. That's not them in this case so far. However, the early damage exchanges we can see is favorable for North as time is really ticking very low. North don't know exactly what is happening. The defaults worked for NRG. They've avoided Banana after taking control there. North can't see it. They don't know if it's going to be an A execute or a B execute, but something tells me they're going to figure it out very soon.
22 seconds on the clock. NRG surrounding the A-bomb site. But they don't have Arch just yet, and that's really important for NRG to hold on to and exchange of frags around as they continue to push. Cadian, quick look, sees more players, trying to buy time as well. He needs to stay alive. There's only 8 seconds to plant a bomb. Doesn't need to peek just yet. The bomb's on the floor, but he goes down, and now they can plant the bomb just in time. All they have to do was survive. 3 versus 2 for North on the retake.
1 second left. That was so close. Now there's a chance, just like you said. Maybe that shouldn't have happened. Tarek in the pit position there with the AUG. And now it's just down to him, and he realizes he has to bide his time here. Peeks out. Oh, he can't pick up the first kill. And Valde, of course, ever reliable here. And that is going to be the round for North. A much-needed round. The fact that they get 6 rounds in the end, it actually feels like it's went very well for North, considering how much firepower NRG were bringing to this first half.
I don't feel like it tells the story of the half, but it tells the status quo, which is that they have 6 rounds and there's a lot they can do, and they're moving into the second half for sure.
Yeah, it's hard to see which way this one goes. The CT and T sides can be so different in how you play them and in how the styles match up for either team.
Excuse me.
Cirque, though, he's of everyone on NRG, I feel like he's looked the slowest to warm up because we have such high expectations of him. If he misses a shot, we're like, oh, he's not warm.
So yeah, I only recall one major impact AWP shot, which basically won them around towards B, or was a significant part of winning that round. But now we have to see if Cadian can be effective on the T side. Again, North, I think, are in a much better spot than can be expected, which has to be a boost for them. Especially, I think, the way in which they won the rounds, like punishing the reload and boiler and so on. I think that's good for morale when they're down by a few rounds. So let's see what they can do now. NRG on the defense. Daps always has a smoke and a defuse kit on the CT side, and he'll often try to get a defuse in the bedlam of a retake. I don't think Inferno is necessarily the right map for that, but we'll see what happens. North have Valde and Caden with grenades, 2 smokes, a Molotov, 2 flashes. So it seems there will be a solid execute for the T side. No P250s, no pistol upgrades. And NRG awaits.
Yeah, and they got that early information as well to have everyone in position. So it's going to be a shootout here on the A-bomb site. Suck kicks it off. And a headshot for him. Valde goes down, one of the most important players to take out, and Breeze will deal with Cadian. So now things are looking very strained here for the T side, but they'll find a way out here. A few quick kills from AZ and Gade will make all the difference as they get the bomb down. 2 players to go here as they go for the retake, and Breeze is going to trade it out. So down to Daps versus AZ. Daps had a great first half. This would be highly impactful. He could pick this one up with the USP, looking for that headshot. It's one bullet that can make all the difference, and AZ biding as much time as possible, and he looks for the perfect timing. He gets it, takes down Daps, and that's absolutely the start they needed.
Really important frag from AZ. Nerves of absolute steel. The wide peak, going straight past the crosshair, shooting him straight in the face. And again, I think his current form as well is very important to go for a play like that, completely exposing yourself and just shooting him, doming him. And putting North just 2 rounds away now. But we have a force buy with a scout for NRG. They probably think that North won't be expecting this, but this is asking a lot of Cirque. A scout on Inferno, you don't have too many long ranges to abuse on like compared to like a train or something like that. So he's going to need some headshots. Yeah, and it's something that, I mean, it's very deadly to have this force buy out. They've got a few smokes as well. If there's any indecision from North or some overperformance in this round from NRG, and all of a sudden you get into very dangerous territory for the T side, and North are starting to group up towards this B-bomb sites. You can see them harassing it with grenades, and that is going to be problematic for Cirque to really get a good look in towards this bomb site. He is rotating right now, but you'd imagine there will be smokes there to block off CT spawn, so without any effective retake utility, this will be a tough hit for NRG. I'm not sure what they can do. They go for the peaks. They get 1, but that might be it here. They have 2 players around construction at this point, but it's hard to see how they get in to do the damage. North have 3 smokes. They just deployed another one towards CT, so what Cirque, again, needs a wallbang to really get anything done here. Now, NRG, they went for a force buy. They've got 4 players alive. At this point, you may just want to save. They don't know that there's another smoke about to be deployed by North, and that really seals the deal, in my opinion. I think they're simply outmaneuvered at this point. They can use that smoke for their own cover to move away and use the stuff in the next round. Oh, where is the smoke, actually? Okay, I have no idea where the smoke is, but the CTs have got one, so perhaps they can try and make their own escape. And they will be hunted. Cadian doesn't quite work out for him, and maybe that can be collected. So there's an MP5 now in the hands of NRG, and again, just live to fight another day. Yeah, I mean, exchanging acceptable damage between both teams. Ethan, collecting that at MP5. He got 2 kills, that's some extra cash in the bank. And again, oftentimes if you lose that pistol on the CT side of Inferno, you do want to go for a force buy, because if you just go for the full save like we saw with North, you have to have a play. You have to have something aggressive that you have in store for your opponent, because you're going to have too little utility. You won't have the incendiaries. That's the critical utility for a CT side, and it's very expensive. And so this is a way where you can get pressure in the 2 follow-up rounds. Then you have, when you can buy fully, it's a proper buy with an AWP and all the incendiaries. All right then, North moving up towards the banana position. Ethan is on fire with his MP5. Manages to escape, however. North not taking any unnecessary risks. Cirque having a look in mid, and Gade will rip his face off. So there is a scout, picks up by Tarek, actually. And then it's disappeared again. So I don't know where the scout has gone. It was there, now it's not.
Yeah, it's a tough spot, isn't it? And I mean, North have been handling these rounds very well. They're very difficult to deal with when you're against top players. Their aim is so good, it just takes one moment of complacency or distraction, and you've lost a teammate, and it's a 4v5 against the CTs, and things get very awkward very quickly. But North, with a minute to go, still working on control of the map. They've got top mid coming next, as they'll rally 4 players to get a pop flash in there and start pushing.
This could prove pretty painful. Ethan is expecting a flashbang. Breeze trying to bait, trying to show, but surely there's a trade here. Flying! Oh, that's ridiculous! Another kill for Breeze! The jumping accuracy of the MP9 is the best for the SMGs, and now he's down to the USP, but Daps is creeping somewhere with a scout. He's on the balcony position. He's got his CZ out, though. This could get even worse for North. Only 2 players left. Daps has got the sound cues. He's got the high ground advantage as well. Breeze can run distraction on the low ground, try and bait them to focus on him, while Daps pops out up top.
Real opportunity here. They found a safe spot on the back of the bomb site. What an awkward situation to be in, though. Daps will finally jump out as well. CZ actually not too bad at these ranges, but getting some damage with the smoke. It's going to make things a bit more awkward. Breeze, he's found another one. That's 4 kills. What an unlikely scenario here for Cadian to try to deal with 1 versus 2. He's stuck in the corner. Trade, is that the trade? Daps goes for it. He can't quite find it just yet. Cadian down to the Glock as he's run out of bullets on his Mag-10. Daps stalks with the AK-47. It's so awkward. He can't find the perfect engagement, but he finally gets it. And that is ridiculous, but there's no time with no kit. But the damage and the AK, that's enough.
Cadian teased him just enough. Basically a pole dancer at this point. But he made his money, so now he can retire like Cardi B. Oh man, that was such a tight one.
This was just fantastic.
What even is that? Beautiful stuff. Breeze looking extremely dangerous, which is fantastic news for NRG, but North just about holding on. Credit to
money there as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Bearing in mind that was a lot of that stuff was saved from previous round. They had their SMG kills as well, which is a great bonus, and now Circus on the AWP. So there are lots of pluses for NRG in a round such as this. They've got a very aggressive round of their own with Breeze with an off-angle round at bench position towards second mid. Not seeing anything just yet. There's action towards Banana as well, but there's somebody creeping in the pit, and now there isn't. Cadian can't really peek. He's got 9 HP already because of those grenades, but Breeze will get taken out elsewhere, and Circle will stop peeking mid.
Yeah, Kirby's down to 19 as well. I love that Breeze. I wonder if Breeze even called that. It's like, I'm feeling it. Guys, I'm just going to go down mid. You've got the cover. And he can look to second mid. The timing was almost incredibly favorable for him. But still, I mean, look at North. They are very weak despite defending that ultimately. 2 players critically low. And still 2 CTs at top. Banana not willing to give it up just yet. Ethan playing with the position, but finally deciding to call it quits. As they do have a 4 versus 4. You don't want to go down to a 3 versus 4 in an undue manner. So we'll see a rotation coming in from Daps now to assist the B-bomb site. As North aren't really left with too many other opportunities here. They've got 2 players that's just too weak, so they've already got Banana. Let's go for it.
Cirque is more or less peaking top of mid at the moment, which now you can see on the radar. Tarek maybe looking to get into a better position to rotate, but can he rotate fast enough? Looks like Cadian might be flanking. In the meantime, we've got big opening frags on the B bomb site. It's cleared out for the time being. Another, ooh, there's a gap, slight gap. Cirque almost, but not quite. Is he going to make his way through or go for the boost? It will be the latter. 1 player on the site, 1 player Banana, and again, Cadian continues to flank in CT spawn. And it seems that it will come fast enough, and Cirque is about to moonwalk his way into Doom. And that will be an AWP for Cadian as well.
That round was so close in a way that NRG will never realize, just due to the way the HP was for the players. It is actually pretty cool, though, because North had the Krieg on AZ picking top coffins. He's picking a headshot position. That actually becomes favorable for the T. With the scoped gun, it's really strong, especially the one-shot potential of the Krieg. That's exactly the kind of position you're looking for, and we saw that NRG were baited into a re-peek on that and punished hard by AZ. That's a beautiful opening kill there, and again, we're seeing better and more frequent use of this Krieg, and I'm loving it. Oh, speaking of headshots, though, this guy, he's woken up.
Absolutely. He's hot now. He's been in a microwave, it's gone ping. And now he is firing on all cylinders. I thought AZ was doomed when he was staring at the Molotov. Oh, his head is just, oh, get away, get away. The Krieg is unscoped. more accurate than the AK-47, and scoped in, it gets even better for the person wielding the weapon.
Yeah.
NRG don't have vision of top mid. Maybe they just peeked and didn't see anybody. They're starting to move towards that B bomb site where one player was alone. They are on the pistols looking for another kill. They haven't picked up that weapon that was dropped in second mid.
Here goes the set piece onto the B bomb site with the utility. Not too many places to stand. You can see one. Oh my god, how did Ethan get a kill? I don't know. He's burning. And there you go. Nice cleanup there. Spray transfer from Valde works out fantastically well, and not too much to worry about at this point. Or post plant on the B bomb site. Although I say that Breeze, he's been a bit of a monster so far with that Deagle, with anything really, MP9 as well.
Yeah,
so
I think there are worries because NRG don't really have anything to lose at this point. Well, I say that, Cirx just picks up an AK-47, but he did go to pick up that weapon in second mid, so they're not going to go, try and die trying to do as much as possible here, but maybe there's more for Breeze to do or try and steal away. Where do they exit north? Do they go towards CT? Oh, he started! I've started, so I'll finish. He's still alive, he's dead. And 2 players will survive for north. These anti-eco rounds for both teams have been expensive, but they are surviving.
And it's amazing because it's in the best way possible. It's because of the individual skill of NRG. It's not like North are playing the rounds poorly and they're, we didn't expect a guy to be hiding in that corner, or we didn't have a good flash or a good set piece to deal with this, or a good approach, or the buddy system. It's none of that. It's because NRG are hitting crazy shots, and then similarly on North side when they were on the CT side of things in the first half, it was the same story. And that's the kind of way you want to see the anti-ecos be scary, is because Breeze is hitting the crazy 1-deeks. That's fun.
Whoa! Look at Valde's stats.
Yep.
27 for 9. God damn.
That's just his consistent kind of performance, isn't it, James? Doesn't matter if his team is losing on a half, he's still going massively positive.
I'm gonna do me.
That's just what he does.
He has the least kills on the least deaths on the server, and the most kills.
He's crazy consistent as well with that.
Only 2 assists, 27 kills and 2 assists.
He shoots to kill.
Those are pretty good stats. That's still leading by example. Moving into the CT side, you want to see some of his teammates start to take over. I mean, Breeze arguably is already doing that. He's 13 for 13 now, or around about there. So that Molotov is why sometimes you see players moving into Boiler but throwing a smoke grenade on the plant pots, because it will extinguish that Molotov, and you can go and peek second mid. But it's a very rare one. A bit gimmicky. And North will start slow in this particular round. Minute 25 on the clock.
That said, with the presence they have towards top mid, it feels like they want to find a timing to burst. And without any banana control, it actually feels like at this point they've given up so much space on the B side of the map, they're just going for it. Big play forwards, and they're going to meet Tarek. He's in the back with the AUG, and there's not much they can do about that. It's going to take something remarkable here now from Valde Ocadian to save the day. 2 versus 4 with all of the NRG players just swinging into that A-bomb site. The alarm bells are ringing, and at this point, they're surely going to get shut down. The remainder of North, that is.
So Daps is holding an off angle towards B just in case, leaving 3 players to focus on the A-bomb site. Ocadian scoping in the apartments. I don't know if Tarek can hear that from his position. Maybe he can. There's only 2 players remaining, so that scope has a lot of information. 35 seconds left. And I think that's very telling of where North are likely to go should they... Oh, no. Oh, more sound cues. And this is quite painful. 23 seconds. Are they really going to go for this? On the rail now. Still not finding much of anything. 16 seconds. This is suicide. There's the first shot, though. But where are the rest of them? There's another player on the site now. Buddy's moving in. There's a big headshot from him. And now the bomb can get planted.
I can't believe it. They've got perfect guesswork there. Hit the shots as well. Good flashbang comes in. Valde's still doing some damage, threatening Ethan to fall back after he does connect, I think, very slightly. Good timing coming in from Cadian, but misses the flick. The flames will send us through the smoke. It's getting awkward. It's getting up close and personal. Daps moves forwards once again. Has to be the guy to save the day here for NRG. And what on earth was that? Cadian just diving on top of him. Doesn't quite pan out, but I don't even believe how they found their way onto a plant in the first place.
That's a crazy way to end things. But there it is. NRG are going to get the defuse. But, I mean, credit to North. They did so much in a 2 versus 4 with, what, 15 seconds left? That's amazing that they put themselves in a position to plant the bomb in the first place, especially with the double sound cues they gave, fumbling about in the short position. Great flick there from Cadian. The end of it was wild. I don't know how that looked from a first-person perspective. But here we are. The score's still close again. This is NRG's pick. They really needed that round.
Yeah, both teams just offering up so much individual play. When it going gets tough, someone steps up. But here it looks like a fast approach to the banana area is the call for North, and they may just keep going here. There are some nades to stop them. We'll see them slow things down now.
So I did mention the possibility of Tarek picking up a second AWP for NRG. At least on Inferno, it's currently Ethan. So we'll see what he can do with it. He had the second AWP in the previous round as well. Still 3 players towards the B bomb site for NRG. Tarek is in that rotation position, but if you see where he is on the radar by the well, he doesn't have a flashbang. So if there was a push, the flash can be so powerful if you drop it into pool because your teammates can peek. The wall in pool allows them to peek anyway, but they don't have that available to them at the moment. You see North with a big focus. Nobody top mid. No presence shown towards the other side of the map. And NRG don't have eyes in that direction either, but they're still holding 3 towards B.
Here they come. Will they wait? Nope. Looks like they'll go with it. And oh my god, Cadian and AZ taking down the defenders straight away. No one survives. They're all dead in about 2 seconds flat. Well, I guess that's the round. 12 to 10. North executing on the B bomb site very effectively, sending NRG to save with the remainder of their weaponry. And right now, North are taking control of the match again. This has been so back and forth, James. What a great tale between these two titans of the game.
Yeah, that looks really awkward for NRG. They had 3 players. They had 3 players towards the B bomb site, but again, when the smoke goes down, there's not really a whole lot Tarek can do from his position. He doesn't have any utility to slow down the push of North either. So he was isolated from his teammates. They got wrecked on the site, and that is 12 rounds for North. Again, I cannot express this enough. This is the pick of NRG. Up to this point, they've been about 80% win rate on Inferno, but it doesn't look so good for them right now. North with some exceptional situations. Didn't always end in a W like that 2 versus 4 situation, but again, when it's the CT side who are taking all those losses in terms of full buys, like 6K per person, that tends to add up pretty quickly. Now we see an MP9 coming out for Daps again. He'll always take the L for his team and take the worst weapon available. But beyond that, it's not too shabby for NRG. We've got the FAMAS on Tarek, but we've got 2 Augs and an AWP. We need Cirque to get popping if NRG are to do something on this in this round, I think. Again, North on the T side now. I want to see what Cadian can do. Well, I mean, he's shown us in that 2 versus 4. That was a great flick on the player in the middle of the A bomb site. But ultimately, they weren't successful. Cirque is blind. Can he save his teammate? Breeze is still alive somehow. And there was a team kill there as well. So many flashes, and Kirby takes out Valde. 2 versus 4. Maybe this is the way that NRG get back into this game. A disaster in the apartments. Friendly fire. Core blimey. 4 versus 2. AZ playing the information game. It doesn't get more than Cirque, but there are stereo frags because Tarek's been taken out as well. And quickly, dramatically, everything turns on its head. Now we've got the T's in control of the A side. They don't know how good it is at the moment. They don't even know exactly where the last 2 NRG players are at the moment. AZ on the bicycle, having a look, spots 1 player towards short. Where is the second one? There's 2 flashes. Cadian could drop a flash behind AZ for him to peek, but he's scoped in with an AWP as well, and that might be more important. Dap spotted up top. AZ continues to deliver. 1 versus 2 now. Ethan trying to bait the shot. Oh, that's beautiful from Ethan. 1v1 now, trying to bait Cadian. He has done so. He's still up there now. Oh my god. That is completely ridiculous. How has he clutched that, Ethan? Unbelievable. 7 HP, a really difficult spot, but he's done it anyway, and he looks like he doesn't care. 11 rounds for NRG. That was so important for them to win. But North looks so dangerous, considering how bad that situation was for them. What a ridiculous... This is a crazy match. This is absolutely crazy.
Yeah, it's looking so good here once again for both teams. Anyone's game. And Again, I just can't really stress enough. I love the usage of the Krieg in the hands of AZ so far on this T side. I think there's so much application, not just this map, but so many others. But looks like Breeze is going to go forward. Oh my god, he finds such a fast timing. The trade comes in from Gage straight up though. And that is not the way you want to start a CT side. You don't want to go down 3 versus 4 and have North in a position where they've got a minute and a half to figure out exactly how they are going to undo you and your defense.
That's a pretty high-risk play, in my opinion.
Yeah.
I think that there's a lot of the time, even if you kill one person, you're going to die in that spot. And if you look at the money on NRG, I don't know if they can really... If those risks are the ones that they want to necessarily take, but they had chosen to do them. This time you could say it hasn't worked out for them, being in a 3 versus 4 situation. They're light on utility. They've got 1 smoke across 3 players and 2 bomb sites with just about a minute on the clock. So there are plenty of advantages here for North with their manu advantage, their utility advantage. Circus gone sentry mode, pulls out his knife at the wrong time, but he's still alive. 13 HP is enough for him to do damage. Daps, does he find 2? Does he stand here and try and defend the bomb, or does he fall back?
He's going to fall back. That's a smart play. That will give time for Ethan to rotate with the Orc. Ooh, but they're going to go back to B here. This is genius. In fact, Ethan's not going to... He's still sort of just waiting. It looks like they expect it. They're rotating now the CTs towards that B bomb site. They're going to get there in time. 30 seconds to go. And this is going to be very stressful work. Cirque's in position. There's no smoke, I don't think, here to cover the cross. And Ethan peeks out. There's a nade follow-up. That's going to absolutely nail Cadian. Now down to just AZ. And he's got to peek Cirque. And that's not happening. What a recovery there from NRG.
This is turned into absolute madness. Absolute madness. Considering how that started for NRG and how it ends up finishing, that was a big opportunity for North. I think we've seen big opportunities for both teams, and here they are, 12-12. The money sucks for both sides, but even more so for North. Excuse me.
I feel like whenever you see a team with an advantage, now my thinking is, well, let's see, looking at the other team, I'm expecting one of those players will step up this round and something crazy will happen. That's kind of how it's been going. Really cool to see. But down to the save now for North. This is such an overtime potential game, just not because the score's there just yet, but it's because teams are playing so close together in terms of performance. And that is a very damaging Molotov that really hurts the efforts of North to get through the balcony. They will get a kill out of it, though, which is always nice. But there it is, all finished off nice and tidy. Bow on top, 13-12 for NRG, as the buy is back in once again for North. And I have no idea where this is going, or even how you call this one at this point if you're North.
One round lead for NRG. And there is a pause of some description, so we'll see if it's tactical or otherwise. Going down to the wire. 30 kills now for Valde, 30 for 13. It's been a great day of CS for him. I think he would be very disappointed if it didn't end up being a W on Inferno for his efforts. But what's happened to Gade?
I have to say, Gade recently, I've seen him having a struggle. He's been on the struggle bus of late in the games I've seen of him on North, but that's okay. He is the youngest player, the least experienced as well on the team. And North have been investing in him a lot mechanically, very strong.
He's got to step up, man. Have you seen those new jackets of theirs? They're looking fly, man. You've got to deliver on the server now. You're wearing these nice hoodies.
Typically on the CT side, he's very reliable. I think, for me, he's a better player on the CT side. But that said, we're back into the action. And Cadian's quick up towards Banana, but he's going to have to get the hell out of there. There's so much damage coming in the form of CT grenades. Here is the staggered utility. HE's thrown late. Nice connection onto AZ. Ooh, just knocking down his HP. He has lost many chunks.
AZ looking for a cheeky peek, jump peek, maybe a boost. Nothing doing just yet. NRG don't want to have the brittle holds that North did in some rounds towards Banana. There's a pop out, there's a trade for Cadian. Ethan has a look, nothing doing. And there's no overreaction from NRG, so Tarek moving up Speedway just in case. He does have a flashbang on this occasion, but he will move back towards the A bomb site. Maybe reading that North will expect an over-rotation towards the B bomb site. They'll keep it to a 3-1 setup for the time being as the clock continues to tick.
Yeah, North may be fairly committed here towards A just because of having to retake Banana, risking running into an AWP. It's not great, but they have so much utility. But look at Breeze. He's just crawling around the apartments. He could be quite the nasty surprise if he finds a good timing, perhaps even a flash in for him. Oh, no, it could be huge. Only the one, though, but it's still pretty devastating. Nice kills coming back here in favor of North, and they are doing a fast one, it looks like, going straight through CT spawn with the bomb to the B bomb site, which is empty. But they have to make the decision. They're going backwards and forwards. Finally now, just beelining it there to the bomb site.
Oh my god, it seems that NRG did not get the sound cues of the players on Speedway. So little time on the clock, and they've completely outmaneuvered NRG and taken them by surprise. I think they've only just realized what is going on now. Are they going to save? Looks like it. Second AWP has been collected. Definitely not retake tools. 2 AWPs versus 3 players. So a split decision from North. There was some hesitation once they were around that Speedway area, maybe just making sure they were on the same page, and they picked the right page. Choose your own adventure. They've ended up on the B bomb site, and they've won the game, at least for this particular round. The score will be tied again. I really don't know who's taking Inferno down.
Yeah, the interesting thing here as well is that, look, Ethan has managed to find himself another AWP. And there is a world where Ethan rotates through CT spawn. You would most often expect that. And instead he goes through Banana. So that actually works out really well for NRG because, of course, now they've got an extra AWP to play with. And he survived with his Kevlar and all of that. So a pretty interesting spot here for both teams. How are they going to put the second AWP to use, though? We don't really see NRG going double AWPs that much, James, on this map, on CT side.
No, we have actually. We've seen Ethan, this is at least the third round where Ethan's had an AWP and Cirque. We mentioned it earlier, saying I wanted to see if Tarek would pick one up, but this is a setup they definitely have been running on some of the rounds at least where they've had more money. With Breeze in this position as well, but this time more success. He sees the bomb early, although there's plenty of time to come. There's no guarantee they'll end up on the A bomb site, but that's a great start. So that is exactly a round that NRG ran previously, but this time with more success.
That was such a free kill as well. That's really what you want to see on the CT side. If you're NRG, happy with that one for sure. And we'll see now North thinking, all right, we lost the player. Let's just make it happen on the bomb site now. They'll move the bomb, shimmy all the way towards that Banana area. They'll set up the push towards B, one would imagine. But it's really difficult to play contact against AWPs. And if we see a peek, that's a good explanation as to why now it's gotten a lot worse. You know, there's AWPs on the field, and that is a difficult thing to pull off, James.
Yeah, I don't know. I just don't know, but they're moving into the B bomb site, 2 versus 5, and again, success has been completely limited. Maybe a flashbang would have helped. KRB retreating from the B bomb site. There's a retake of the B bomb site before North even take the B bomb site. They're forced out, and all of a sudden, Daps finds himself free to play with the fishies. Contaminate the fountain, Daps. Go ahead.
Double AWPs didn't even really need to come into play too much in this round. Obviously, Ethan gets a free one. I think the round still, even if he doesn't get that kill, goes probably the same way. Maybe even worse, potentially, for North, because they would have invested fully.
I don't know what the play is with the jiggle like that for so long as well versus a flashbang. But there we are. That puts NRG into or helps them go into a very late lead. And maybe it's time for them to get biblical and convert this map.
Ooh. Yeah, you're pleased with that one, aren't you? That was pretty good.
I've had the energy drinks, man. I'm ready. Let's go.
That was good. That was a pretty good one.
I've got bars for days.
NRG, are they pulling away at the last stretch? It's cool that they're adding those new dimensions to their play. You know, the double AWP's not something I've seen too much in the past from them on the CT side. But having Tarek in the mix does change quite a lot, I think. He's such a versatile player also. I think that's one of the great things about him. As you mentioned, you know, you want to see him on AWP. That's like something obviously he can play super well with. He's someone that can really get his hands dirty, get it really aggressive, or play really passively. He can kind of do it all. So great addition to the team. Good personality, good experience. A major winner. And you can see Valdez really slowed down in the last few rounds, unfortunately, for the North side. starting to struggle now.
Who is going to pick up the slack for North, especially in a situation where they've got 2 UMPs. Maybe a lack of AWP gives them the freedom to get more aggressive, make some faster plays. First, they want to secure the banana position. That smoke up top is quite a pain in the bum for the CTs to deal with. They can't really force their way down with all the bits and bobs they might like because their vision is somewhat obscured. But Ethan's going for something cheeky, it seems. And Tarek will slowly move away, or will he? Kind of teasing a rotation. And again, we've got the peaks, and Kiabi this time goes down for free at a different angle. Great timing in the additional aggression from NRG. And again, getting caught off guard when there are 3 rounds remaining in normal time is just not, you just can't have that.
Yeah, it's starting to feel like things might be getting kind of desperate for North. They have to just go for a B play at this point, even though there's 3 players there. They probably even know it at this point, but you just got to get it in. And actually a push straight through into pool there, and Tarek has actually been completely blind. I don't know from whose flash, but it's looking good now, unless Daps gets a good performance in here, and he can't. And now the site's completely clear. Great work from North. That push worked out so well with the timing. Like oftentimes when the CT pushes the smoke into pool like that, it feels like it's in the timing where the Ts are actually kind of running onto the bomb site, so it's almost like kind of like a weird flank in a way. But Tarek's timing was a bit too early, and it made it look kind of silly because it made him look like he peeked into 4 players purposely. You know, it's a kind of a strange one, but whatever it was, that timing was fantastic for North, bringing them to 14. There is just enough money here for NRG not to worry too much. Is someone going to win this game, James?
It's cool. It's great to watch because it's really not obvious as to who's going to take it. It's a coin flip for me.
Yeah.
14 apiece. Again, the desk did say that Inferno isn't necessarily the best map for NRG to pick to kind of have a solid first map in this series, and they haven't they're not wrong for sure. Just look at the score. How likely is overtime at this point? This is really nervous stuff now. I think Dust 2 is a question mark for NRG. Let me see. They've played, I believe, 1 map in the last 3 months of Dust 2 from what we can see on NRG, on HLTV. So they really need to win this map, NRG. Otherwise, they're just going into the dark.
Yep. The performance is much more even as far as the fragging is concerned for NRG across the board. Only really Circu's low in the numbers and not finding too much. But everybody else is pretty much even. And Cirque will be on the primary AWP in this round. Not had too much contact with it so far in the recent rounds. It's been more about those B attacks for North, where Ethan's had more play. Will this be the round where things change for Cirque? This is such an intense matchup. You just don't know what's going to happen. Oh, nice double nade coming in. Kaden will take a lot of damage. Kirby will make his way forwards. So North have decided to just give up Banana at the beginning of the round. Maybe let the CTs throw their utility, then fall back. But NRG have decided to stack 4 players towards A now for some reason. Perhaps in seeing no utility on Banana early on, they feel like maybe there's a faster timing towards A. And we'll have to see if North will just use this for map control or if they'll actually commit further. So far, it looks like just map control for them.
It's interesting. It's a gamble for NRG because Ethan's not in a position where you might like classically see Device looking down Banana. He's kind of on the B bomb site. So if North do go towards B, then it might just be a save for NRG considering the circumstances. But that's not the case for now. 4 players top mid, and Dabs goes to have a look. I don't know how many he saw. Not sure if the bomb is in boiler on the radar or if it is top mid, but it looks like they're going to wrap. And ooh, this has to be a save for NRG unless Ethan finds a way to delete almost everybody.
And he's going to hear all the running as well down Speedway, so he knows he has to kill the guy Banana. Oh, he's going to do it. Now there's a chance because they can come in and offer the flank up through CT spawn his teammates. Actually, they're all going Banana. I'm not sure about that. This is going to be very difficult to get in. I mean, just one smoke. But there are no smokes except for the CT on the CT side. This is getting very strange, James.
This is absolutely wild. The bomb still hasn't been planted just yet, and it's down on the smoke now. No one's around it. One player on the side and 2 players are boosting on the other side. They've got 12 seconds. They haven't planted the bomb. Surely not like this. It's basically a 4 versus 1. This is a disaster. 2 players left, 7 seconds to plant the bomb. Spamming the flashes, running towards Fountain, trying to get the bomb down now. Out with the pistol. Cirque trying to find a kill, but he can't do it. Now even to the 1 versus 2. Oh my god. This is absolutely bananas, that.
How do you explain that? That's so weird. I don't think I've ever quite seen a round like that. The T's running all the way towards Banana. Ethan knows he has to get the kill. Banana secure that position because he hears so many steps on Speedway. He knows if he gets that position, his teammates can retake. But then they're all on. There's 4 of them on Banana. If there was 1 smoke from North, that just completely cripples that retake. But then the pick fits. I don't know what's going on there. That's so bizarre, hard to break down. But we're going to see it get even weirder here, perhaps. 2 MP9s in play. CZ Max 7 on Tarek. This is pure desperation here for NRG, and Ethan. He is no longer with us. Those 2 HEs will find their mark. And, well, if we learn anything from this series, James, it's still going to go to overtime, but maybe that's far-fetched.
Meat shots, baby! That was nasty. Now, I think Cirque may have had a look down mid, so he needs to rotate quickly towards that B bomb site. There's a pop flash from Daps, just about going to go over, but the North haven't made it around the corner just yet. He's blind, there's fire behind him, he's moving into the fire. He's still alive somehow. Cirque pushing through the smoke with the AWP, and that is a desperate last chance saloon for NRG, They're about to lose their map pick.
Wow, I can't believe it. I cannot believe. I mean, I don't know if I would have had the same reaction if NRG had won, but what an unbelievably back and forth series. It was so difficult to figure out who had momentum, who had advantage in the rounds, whether one team looks like clearly they would be favorite. Somehow something would happen and they would lose the round. That happened so many times. What a beautiful way to start off this best of 3, James.
That was wild. I think as one of, obviously there's another match going on at the same time, but as one of the first, the first map of the entire tournament, that's absolutely crazy. What a fantastic way to kick things off. What a disappointing start though for NRG. That was their pick. They're 80% on that map. The desk said that this is not really necessarily the best pick for map 1 in your best of 3 series, and I mean, look what happened.
Absolutely. It's, well, I mean, the cool thing is that it's a best of 3. So, and this looks like it might go all 3 all 3 maps. And with Dust to follow, that's going to be, with all these performances individually we've been seeing, that should surely be an absolute, just a beautiful game coming up.
That was crazy. I don't think we saw the dominance from the AWPs that we're going to need to see on Dust 2. So there's a lot more Counter-Strike to come in that regard. But again, like NRG probably thinking, oh, this is going to be a breeze. This is our pick. Wasn't a breeze at all.
It was so back and forth.
Despite the efforts of Breeze, but maybe they came too late because, again, he started off slow. I mean, Gade had a pretty bad game, but maybe it was enough of Valde to help take it over the line. I think we're going over to the panel now. Over to you, JB.
Cool, right? Want to know where I got it? Well, look, go to cs.money. It's a trade platform and a marketplace at the same time. Just choose, click, and get. Good luck, bro.
Case. Big update and new features in the case battles. Updated and convenient interface with new options. Up to 4 users can participate in one battle now. Create and customize your battles, any number and any type of cases. Choose the number of participants and invite your friends with a unique link. Watch the best drop and win everything. Don't miss epic battles on Hellcase.